Got your camera on? Is
Yes, sir.
everybody else ready?
Yes,
You ready?
Yep.
All stand and say the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I guess we need some kind of a format here probably, but does everybody have all these sheets? May not have this.
Yeah, I got those.
You got it, you got it. Really, yellow, how come?
I printed mine out off the
You
computer.
did? Okay. All right. Usually it starts, the top sheets say Board of Selectmen.
Yes.
Yep. Which is basically what, town office?
Yep.
All right. Everybody have that sheet? That's where we're gonna start. All right. Either of you have any comments about the Board of, or the town office budget? It's a Board of Selectmen, but the town office, basically, everything in it.
No, I don't think so. There was no change between what the Board of Selectmen did and the Finance Committee did on that budget.
Okay. You have anything?
I got no problems with it.
All right. That one. Anybody from the public have anything to say about the town office budget? I know you do, Mr. Lake, go ahead.
Mr. Lawrence, can you explain to us on which format you're going, because none of my sheets start off with the Board of Selectmen's office.
We'll just start off with David.
One starts with assessors.
Okay, yeah.
Managed
This sheet
page
here,
back.
is that what you're looking
With the
at?
BMS.
Yeah, you're looking at that, that's not the one.
You wanna, then what, for the audience, you wanna go with the
Well,
sheet we
okay,
have here?
never mind, I'll reverse that, I guess.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence.
No, don't thank me, thank everyone.
We're on the same page.
What'd you say, man on the
We're on the
street?
same, we're on the same page.
All right, we will start with that sheet then, if it's easier for everybody here. Do you have this sheet? Gentleman in the back? Yeah, you, what's your name?
Tim,
Jim.
Tim, T.
Tim, what's your last name?
Jones.
Okay, Tim Jones, all right. Anybody else here that we don't know? I guess not. Okay, the assessors, we'll start with the assessors, and then we'll have to hear any of these sheets or else we
Yep.
don't lose them, right? All right, the assessors. If you look, you'll see where it's adopted 2012, then you're going over 2013, the request was 29,513. Then the recommended from the Finance Committee was 24,513, and there was a Finance Committee change of 5,000 there. So then the Select Board, Board of Selectmen proposed a 24,583, the same as, pretty much the same as Finance, except for probably some changes in, what was it, FICA or I don't remember what that other change was, but roughly a $70 change, which
Workers' comp.
I think it was one or the other, right? All right, now, any questions about that one? Do you have any comments?
Nope.
I'm all set with
The $5,000, if I remember correctly, was due to, let me stop and think, I think it was due to that legal thing,
The
right?
Fair
As
Point
far as the
litigation.
Fair Point lawsuit. So, it was taken out of the Board of Assessors budget actually and put into the legal in the town office or the selectmen. Okay, anything else? Any comments from the public about assessors? Nobody? All right. So. Good. Do you have any input?
Nope.
You don't have any, okay.
I'm all set.
And then associations, as we all know, is pretty academic and it happens every year. And it's 9,066 and there was a difference there due to,
That was just a difference over the change from the previous year because of increase in fees.
yeah,
For
one of them,
associations.
which one was it, Southwest?
Um,
It was one of them anyway. So, and you can see that the selectmen and the finance committee pretty much agreed on that, right? Any comments from the public about the board of, the association's line item? Questions? No? You must have agreed, you are on the finance committee, and Voted on it, right? Okay, auditor, which is 12,500 with 2012, and this year it was the same thing. And the finance committee naturally recommended, that's a contracted thing pretty much, so there were no changes. The selectmen agreed to 12,500. Comments? Any questions about audit? This is a professional auditors group that Melanson and he do the audits, and they're working here right now. In fact, they've been here the last couple of days. Okay, building permits. As you can see, these are just, basically building permits are pretty much an estimation as far as what you're gonna get permits. Plus, included in this is the $5,000 salary for the permit officer, or building code enforcement officer.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, he's also the code enforcement officer.
So, that's included in there, and it's just an estimated figure of $1749 over beyond that, apparently. These are his figures that the finance committee changed to $92 because of, what is the rate? That wasn't due to FICA, was it? Or Medicaid, one or the other? But anyway, that, it was changed. It might have had a bearing on it, even though his salary didn't change. Any questions, comments from the public about building permits or code enforcement officers? No? Okay, that one's okay. Selectmen? Either one?
No, I'm all set.
Nothing?
Thank you.
Cemetery? Okay, as you can see, that, what was adopted this past year was the 28,799. This year, the request was for 30,829, and it was recommended by the finance committee to 30,829, and then it got changed $40, and we just decided that it was due to FICA, Medicare, or whatever it was. Right?
That's what I'm trying to find right
I
now.
think it was. You got that in your notes?
No, I'm looking it up right now.
I believe that's what it was, because it wasn't anything that either the cemetery committee did or the finance committee did, so there had to be a reason for it. That was probably the reason. Nobody from the public has any comments about that one?
Yeah, it was workers' compensation, I increased that by $40.
I thought it was one or the other. Communications. All right. This was an increase, basically, of 70,000. The finance committee recommended 67,102. All right. The request was for 70,830, which then came to the selectmen after the finance committee when Mr. Hicks came in. Everybody knows, does anybody know the reason for that? Code red, right?
Yep.
Okay. That was, the finance committee had voted not to put code red in there, but then it was, decided to put that in there afterwards by the board. So that's a change there as far as from the finance committee to selectmen. It was done because it was felt that code red was if there were any more disasters such as the 2008 disaster that we had here and so forth, that code red would have been a benefit there instead of people running out, firemen, police, spending hours going out trying to track down people in different places and so forth. They would have, supposedly would have another way of contacting them and spend less man hours.
Yeah, it's supposed to work, besides just on your telephone line, it's supposed to work on cellular, emailing, wireless.
Yeah. You have anything? Comment?
No.
Okay. So we're in agreement to 70,830, right? Any public input? You wanna say anything, David? Cause I know you have strong feelings about it.
I have strong feelings against it because as we all know, in the case of a disaster, first thing you're gonna lose is your phone lines. And the personnel that the town has are gonna have to go out to, go to those homes that aren't accessible. I know that was,
But there was another piece to that, that if you have say if you have a traffic accident or a large scale fire in a certain area of town, you can actually, using that system, notify that portion of the town for those purposes. Now,
Great idea, Mr. Conlon, but when I'm not living in that area of town and I'm driving there, are you not gonna have a police officer or an emergency personnel to direct and detour?
I understand that too, but what about the people?
They just stop you and you sit on the road for 2 hours.
Beverly,
You could have gone
Beverly,
back to Jackson.
Beverly, thank you. Please address the board.
But the people who are actually in the neighborhood who are not getting detoured or directed, that allows the people to be notified of the situation in the neighborhood.
And you gotta remember now, somebody has to be feeding this firm that you're gonna hire to have this service, to give them telephone numbers, cell phone numbers.
Yeah, I mean, the town should, that was something that I was taught, someone had asked me about, why doesn't the town have a database for all the people in the town? And I really don't have an answer for it yet. We should be working on something like that, though. Notifications. Mr. Chairman, there's another person.
It's in the works for the roof. Jason?
I've never heard of this code retro. Does that mean that everybody in town would have to register with their cell phones, internet?
That would be totally optional.
It's an option that you would have, yes.
It's not mandatory.
Does it mean you would have to? No,
I
absolutely
wonder how
not.
many people would even do it.
Okay, Betty?
Did the Hillsborough County service improve this year at all?
It will, well, as soon as that tower's operational, watch that. We put up a tower and,
Put up a pole.
Yeah.
well, a pole with, not a tower. Why do I always say tower? It's an antenna on top of a pole that's roughly 70 feet high,
Where's the pole?
up on Old Ridge Road.
Oh, okay.
You didn't go up there when you were a selectman and look at that site? I thought you did.
Well, I went up there, but
Oh, you know where we looked at the site up there?
that was before the pole.
Yeah, it was, because the pole was just put up here just a couple months. But, as soon as Beltronics, I don't think they've been there yet, was up there, to be able to, capability will be to pretty much receive and broadcast all over town as far as Hillsborough County. They put a portable up there, you well remember, maybe you don't remember, and tried it with a 40-foot antenna, and they were able to pretty much canvass the whole town, so we figured it was 70 feet. It's not that great big monstrous tower that you were talking about a couple of years ago when you were a selectman, where you're gonna build a pad and all that stuff, 170 to 190 feet, no. All right, get back to that. Is there anything else on communication? All right. Conservation, pretty much academic. As you can see, they recommend, Finance Committee recommended 1875, and in 2013, he requested 4875, and then I think there was, he came back in and requested the 1875 and made some changes. By he, I mean the chairman of the Conservation Commission, so there's $3,000 there from the original request. 1875 is his budget. Any discussion or questions about that from the public? Selectmen?
No, I got no problem with
Okay. Conservation debt service, which is, most people are familiar with anyway, probably. I think it's pretty much business. Doesn't change much, except for debt service stays. Anything on debt service? No? What are you looking for? You missing a sheet?
No.
Okay, election registrations. As you can see, there's bound to be a difference there this year somewhat anyway, because of the fact it's only one election this year, whereas last year there was a number of them. Originally, there were requests for increases and so forth, and this, when it was originally presented, then it was changed. So there's a drop there. Comments? Anybody? Anybody? Nothing? Okay. Selectmen? No? No. Emergency management? All right. You can see that one changed. Let's see, that $500 change was, the finance committee was, due to what?
$500 was for a fax machine. They had been
Yeah.
given, they had a grant by,
I was thinking of the other 500, but that's not right. Remember the other 500? What was it, 500 or 2,500? 500. It was gonna be have a coordinator for
yeah.
volunteers.
Yeah, that was cut out.
Okay. So,
The only thing that changed in that was the $500 for a fax machine because they would,
you want? Go ahead.
they were granted a fax machine from, who was it, I'm trying to think. They have a fax
State.
machine, they need a line.
You talking about FEMA?
Yeah, FEMA.
All right.
Workman's comp is different also, that's why it's different.
Okay. So that's 12,370 the selectmen are proposing. So that's the difference there between finance advisory and the selectmen. Anybody else? Any comments? Okay. Employee benefits? No, nothing in that one anyway, not here, because they're all in the individual budgets as far as insurance and so forth. Fire. All right. As you can see, the fire department originally requested $119,288, and then when he came into the finance committee, he agreed to drop it to $117,388, so it's a $1,900 decrease, right? So the budget now is, as far as being proposed, is $117,592. Comments?
No. And the only probably difference there is workman's comp on fire too.
That $204 is part of it. All right, moving right along, I guess. General government buildings. As you can see, that one there is, the department requested $68,000, and then the finance committee recommended $58,591. And then there was, the changes here was that, 9,651, one was from the original proposal or request, and the selectmen agreed to $58,644, and that $53, I think there was, what was that
Same
for?
thing,
Workman's compensation.
For the custodian, right?
No, it's, yeah, whatever position they have there.
Yeah. I think that's the only one it would be. All right, health.
Good question.
Hey, you had questions, Beverly, on buildings?
On general government buildings,
Yeah.
the highway garage, I understand you had a leak in the green center. Are you planning to repair that?
Well, I think he called, he had a roofer go down there.
Huh?
He had a roofer go down there, and I think it probably got repaired.
Also,
You're talking about,
down
this
another
was,
building.
you're talking about a recent one? 2
Yes.
weeks, 3 weeks, what?
Yeah.
There was a roofing,
Well, it's
prime
all
roofing
that
actually
you're
went
gonna do
down there
anything. But you refuse
3
to
weeks
fix
ago,
it.
whatever it was.
Who refused to fix it?
You guys,
This is the first time I've heard of it.
Where'd you hear that?
that's what I heard,
In the Green Center?
that's correct.
Rumors are a dangerous thing. Cause I've never even heard, this is the first time it's ever came up around there about a leak in the green
I
center.
mean, you
Did
gotta
you know there was
start.
one there?
No, I never heard anything
I
about
thought
it.
Mary came to a selectmen's meeting to talk about it.
What?
I thought Mary came to a selectmen's meeting.
No, any meeting that I was at.
Well, me or Ron, we come to every one,
You didn't hear about it, did you? But Peter called them and they did go down there and they did go up on the roof and about 3 weeks ago probably, or,
Well, it
I
wasn't
can't remember
fixed
the
2
time
weeks
frame.
ago,
Huh?
so it wasn't fixed 2 weeks ago when I was here.
2 weeks ago when
The
you,
floor was still all
was
wet.
still leaking?
Well, I don't know if it was still
Maybe
leaking,
it was
but
less
the
than
floor
that,
was
but
wet, that's how
I know there was
discovered it.
There were roofers down there. If they didn't fix it, then,
I don't know.
Marie, could you talk to Peter about that tomorrow?
Sure.
anything else on buildings?
Well, just that you better start maintaining the buildings you have.
Yeah, well, this is what I think he's trying to do somewhat, but it's limited, you mean, all but building number 2, cause we can't spend any money on that one, so.
The warrant article to spend money on it.
What?
The warrant article to spend money on it.
I didn't write that warrant article. I don't have anything to do with it. That's a petition article, it has to be on the warrant. Whether people agree or disagree, it's the voters' choice, as they all are in that committee. Okay, health, we left those, pretty much the same. $2,000, the finance committee recommended. She asked for 1934, but there again, you're talking about, the $66 was for, one of the other ones. Just the FICA, Medicare, whatever it was. Change it's $2,000 for that. That's part of that salary, the rest is expenses. Anything on health? Anybody? Jimmy, you're sitting way over in the corner there. You got anything to say? No? Guess not.
I will on 18 and 19.
Wait a minute, I haven't got to the budget, we haven't got to the warrant articles yet, don't, let's get through this first, and then we can take whatever you want, all night, or half the night, or whatever, for warrant, I don't care.
I can't, I gotta bring home pizza.
You got a what?
I gotta bring home pizza.
I thought you were gonna bring a pizza up here for everybody. No? No, give me. All right, insurances. As you can see, the figures there, what the finance committee recommends pretty much is $41,981, and the selectmen then, because of the $200 was for, what was that? $200 for insurances, maybe, what was that? Change, there was a change from what originally came to finance, yeah. That couldn't be, that's not effective Medicare, I don't know.
Probably.
There's a reason for it.
I got no change in my notes here.
What?
I got no change in my notes on this one.
You don't? Okay, 2,000 recommended, finance committee recommended.
Oh,
You on this sheet here? What sheet?
I thought you said you went to the next one, I'm sorry.
I went to insurances. That the one you're looking at?
Yeah, I'm looking at insurances, and that's not
Oh.
2,000, that's 42,000.
I'm sorry, I didn't say 2,000, I said there was a change of 2,000, right? Oh, that was health, I'm sorry, I looked at the wrong line.
No, it's a $200 change.
Yeah, that's,
200, yeah, that's what the change
Okay.
was.
That's
The reason,
unemployment,
huh?
unemployment.
Right,
Yeah.
compensation.
Because of the changes in the system. Anything else on insurances? Mr. Lake?
Marie, can you refresh our memory of what the FAC increased it by? I don't recall increasing the insurance.
I don't think you actually increased it. It was probably when the unemployment compensation came through.
Do you think that should get shifted over then?
I could shift it over. I don't have that sheet. Can I see that sheet?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll be back.
406.
You leaving?
No, I'll be right back.
Oh. You got it?
Yeah. Okay.
The $200.
So what was the value that the FAC approved?
The FAC approved, let me see if FAC approved,
Says here,
I have
41,981.
41,981.
Yeah,
I do have 41,981 FAC.
but it says here and then
And
changes
then-
with 1362.
Yeah, and then, six.
And then when we actually went and did the budget, it came up with 42,181.
I think what you approved was the original, was when I did these budgets, I first put in last year's for the unemployment compensation because I did not have the updated one. And so you guys approved the 42,181, and then I got the increase of a couple $100, $200, and that should be under Board of Selectmen, so.
So we would have approved the 41,981,
Yes.
and then the 1,362 should go into the Board of Selectmen.
The 1,362 is the, isn't that the difference between?
It is, but it's just listed
1,362
on the
was what-
changes that the FAC made.
Yes,
That was
it
what
does.
this year's actual is. And when you got the new number, it's 1562. And it just
Oh,
says
yeah.
that you, finance committee saw the 1562, unfortunately, on my sheet, but
Okay,
I don't know
yeah,
if they
this
did or
probably-
didn't. Okay.
It's on there.
The finance committee accepted the 41,981 anyway, so. It was just some sort of an adjustment you had to make there. It probably wasn't our employment fund.
It is. It's all under the unemployment compensation fund.
Okay, anything else? Any other comments? Nobody? All right. Landfill cap testing and maintenance, as you know, that's a mandatory thing that you have to do, so, including those tests have to be done on a regular basis. Anything on that? It'll be done for, how many years left? 20?
Yeah.
It's a 30-year program, so you're gonna be doing it for a while. All right, 10,918 is what the Board of Selectmen are proposing in the proposed budget. No. Finance Committee, same thing, so there's no difference there. We all agree? Any questions? Everybody knows what it involves, right? The Morrison wells and all that. Legal? As you can see, this year, 2012, it was 42,500, and they then came back and requested 32,500, but we had only spent, at that point, I think we only spent like $11,000 up to that point, so we cut it back again to 20, originally it was 24, and then Finance Committee recommended 27. And because of the Fairpoint issues, and there are some other things. What?
I mean, fair point, you also have, if you read the newspaper, there could be issues regarding the planning board and windmills.
Well, I know that,
You
yeah.
know,
that's
there's a
different.
few, there's a few things
There's
out
about
there.
3 issues that could possibly come up this year that we know about right now. One of them was windmills, the USA properties could be another one possibly, I suppose, and we don't know what else.
That's the reason why I made the recommendation of,
27.
no, going from 27 back to 30, adding $3,000
Yeah,
back into
right.
it to make it 30.
We did, and so it's $5,500 difference. Any questions about that?
Can you sit down and give Mr. Conlon why you added the 3,000 back in?
Because of possible pending litigations.
Did you say one specific?
I said if you read the newspaper, there was an article about, in the newspaper, I think it was an op-ed piece today about the wind farm. And about towns having the right for their own regulations that their voters actually voted for. So, I mean, that could possibly be something in the future. Also, Fairpoint.
That's already a given.
Well, but that was already added in, that was already accounted for, so I was curious
Yeah.
as to why. the
And there
increase.
was also, then we have the Department of Labor in.
It wasn't added at that time.
No.
No, but when we had our meeting, we had known that
That's
there
right.
could possibly be something from the
Yes.
Department of Labor.
That had another bearing on the change, you're right, it does.
And
of
there's that possible,
course,
all about
so
labor.
there's 4 possible things right now that we know. We knew that the windmill thing possibly was coming at the time, and we also knew that Fairpoint was coming. That was a given right then and there.
But that was at the time after the Finance Committee
Right.
met, and when we had our meeting with the department heads, that information became, so it wasn't something that was actually transferred to the Finance Committee at the time because it just wasn't available.
Why, do you remember it differently at the Finance Committee?
We don't rely on my memory, Mr. Lyon.
I I know better than that. I know that, you remember, you'd have it written down if it was. I don't think
I
anything
don't
was
know.
said, anything was said about windmills that night, right? There was nothing said about windmills then, because we didn't know it was coming. We did know the Fairfield thing was coming, I think we counted on that at that finance committee meeting, so. Okay, anything else? You have a question? You better have your hand up.
Stretcher.
Oh. Give me coffee. Moderator. Okay. That one there is not much of a difference except for $7, I guess, because of the due to the FICA or something. Either one or the other. A lot of these things are just because of the computation. Anything on moderator? Only one election this year. So, Parks and Rec, okay? I know there's gonna be some comments here, probably. All right, Selectmen?
The finance committee, had set at 15,469, and then we actually cut an additional $837 out of it.
All right, Finance Committee had recommended 15,469, you're right, and then there was a change afterwards when we discussed things. The Selectmen discussed it. He had originally requested 23,739, right? So, any comments? You got any? No?
No, I got none on that.
Anything else, Mr. Costello?
Nope, I'm all set.
David Lay?
Can I understand why the adult recreation was cut out of this? line
No, it
item?
actually wasn't, there should be a $1 figure or something, because you can move money from line to line, so if they figure out what they, for the last 4 years, we've done nothing with adult recreation. Yeah, the money's always been in there, and it's just gone back to the general, they can move money from the basketball line into the adult recreation line.
My understanding was that they had a adult volleyball and basketball, whether they were held at the schools, whether there was a charge from the schools. Is that,
No, it is, not that I know of at this time, I know Peterborough hosts a volleyball.
no?
No, I'm just saying, as of this time,
You're going back a number of years on it.
no.
You're not?
No.
Because it used to be.
I mean, there's been some requests, but they've never gotten anything off the ground. I mean, there's no school for the adults to, there's no charge from the school to use the gym for the town. The school board has been very good to us for any town recreation, whether it's the Easter egg hunt or anything like that.
Well, as you know, it was listed in the meeting minutes, and I hope that is not the message that gets relayed to the Parks and Rec, to cut adult rec.
No, that would definitely not be,
There was no cut.
there was no cut in the adult rec?
No, it's
Okay.
$500 still.
Alright. So, see, that's,
We have a cut. You have a cut?
No, I've got, under the 14,632, we've got 500 in it on our sheets.
yeah, because I think at the meeting you had even said, you had,
I don't see it, I don't have a
You
cut.
got a Peterborough presumed that. You gotta go to the Peterborough rec department.
Basketball was cut.
yeah, basketball was cut, and,
I don't know either.
I wonder what else was.
Basketball was cut by 1,000,
Yeah,
instead of 500 that you originally brought up.
yeah.
No.
That's not Selectmen's.
Okay. So it's 14,632, right? That's the figure. You both agree?
Yes.
Yeah. That's the figure that's proposed.
What is what? It's based on a couple of years ago when we had a full-time person.
Okay. All right, patriotic purposes. Anything on that? As you can see, it's 1,600 that's being proposed. The original request was for 2,400, but included in his request for some unknown reason was the Stearns-Burton money that is given each year for the band. I guess he didn't quite understand perhaps why it was how it worked. You just automatically give him a check and he pays the band, right?
Right, he probably thought it was because.
Well, he thought it was part of the budget to
He
take
thought
care
he had
of
to raise the funds so that he could spend it.
it. Well, yeah, but we didn't do that, did we? Okay, so that's why it's $1,600 now, and you see the $800. We weren't trying to defeat Memorial Day or anything like that. It was just, well, as long as Stearns Burton was given the 800, they shouldn't be in the budget. All right, anything on patriotic purposes?
Nope.
Either? No?
Good.
Planning board? Anything on planning board? As you can see the figures as you go across, the request was, $7,300. $7,300, and then it was, the finance committee reckoned $6,900. There was a change of 400 there, and we went along with the $6,900.
Yep.
Finance committee recommended. Comment? Jason?
Yeah. Where does the 40% increase come from?
Which 40%?
Why do they need almost twice as much money for this year as
Because-
This is,
Is this a map?
no, what happens
Tax
is,
map?
no, it's based on a warrant article question. Because of, the impact fees. Because this is the, when you do they did the capital improvement, some of that money was to go rewrite the impact fees.
Right, yeah, but you're doing the rewriting anyway, right now as we speak.
Yeah, but some of that money was carried over from that. Because it was gonna get paid in 2 years.
Well, impact fees, right now, Mayberry's still doing it, even though there's an article, because you can't guarantee the article is gonna pass or not gonna pass, because in order to, fulfill the law or requirements of the law of the state of New Hampshire, you have to do it anyway.
Yeah, and I think there was something to do, not with the, there's still a chapter of the,
That's what I believe it was,
Yeah.
updating the master plan,
Yeah,
and why there was an.
Yeah, that's what I was just doing. It
Yeah, there
was
was
the
a-
Southwest Regional Planning
yeah,
Commission.
there was also a chapter on that too.
Okay. Anything else? Either or, anybody else, any input? Oh. Okay, now this is one of the bigger ones, police. As you can see, we go across the board here. And the request was 856, 351, right? Finance committee recommended 806, 998. So that's a difference of 49,000. And the board of selectmen recommended after making the adjustments for the different things as far as Medicare, medical, FICA and all that, $2,002. So that's why there's a difference between what finance committee recommended and what we recommended. So, comments? Wait, you want anything?
Nope, I'm all set, I'll wait for
I'm good.
comments.
All right,
What came out.
Selectmen speak first. Okay, Benty.
Is most of the increase attributable to the severance payment to Garrett?
Call it a severance pay, yeah. It's based on, yeah, for this year, it's roughly between $117,000 and $120,000, right, for everything. That includes the pay and the.
Yeah, I mean, that would be his salary line and his benefits.
That is included in
So
this
we're still
budget.
budgeting for 6 officers plus paying Garrett,
Yes.
It will be, yeah.
so that's why I wanna,
Yeah.
But the major increases, one of the attributing increases is due to the higher rate of pay that was.
That's correct. There are higher rates, there's no doubt about it, based on experience. Right now, the agreement was between the finance committee, as you well remember, Mr. Lage, was that he agreed that he would hold back on hiring after he got to the 5th officer, right?
Well, after he got to the 4th officer, but then I think he changed his mind.
Well, counting himself.
I think it's actually.
What? Right now, there's 4 plus him. He's already hired.
Right. And
The
I
other
think at
guy's
the
not
time
hired.
of the discussion, that wasn't gonna occur until
Later on.
June.
That's correct. For the 6th officer that you were just talking about, basically, I think is the way it was figured, but either way, it's, Yep, but the biggest one, like Becky asked, was, one of the biggest was because of the negotiated terms with the former police chief and the selectmen and so forth.
So are we now up to 5 officers, Mr. Lawrence?
You just had another one start yesterday.
We were,
Yeah. You just hired 2. One started 2 weeks ago and one started yesterday. And then, Officer Tony came out of the academy, that's 3. And then you had the lieutenant that was hired,
early December,
December?
December 10th is
Oh.
his first day.
All
And then the chief, so we are at 5 full-time officers. That is
Plus the
correct.
secretary.
Yes.
Any other discussion about police? Jason?
Just on the number of officers, I'm curious, how long did we go with, what was it, 2 officers?
You went with 2 for a while, then you went with 1 for a while.
What was it?
We were with one for almost 2 months.
You had a police chief plus 2 part-time officers.
For almost 2 months. End of October, the beginning of December, Jason.
He was hired as police chief on October 24th, I guess it was. At that time, I think he was the only one left.
Yeah, except for Tony being in the academy.
Tony was in the
Right.
academy.
So we were still paying for that police officer even at that time.
Yep. You did, so part of Tony's pay and so forth was in last year's budget. Anything else on police? Yes, Mr. Jones?
Thank you. Are there enough vehicles for the increased staff?
Yeah, sure. We just, in fact, we have
The
3.
sir, the vehicles were the same, the staff was what the staff was supposed to be prior, we haven't increased the number of staff, it's just he's been able to get back up to full staff. So they already had the vehicles sitting there because of the lack of staff.
In fact, we just bought a new one back in
November?
October, I guess.
We're on
No,
replacement
no,
vehicle.
October, November. Yeah,
That's a
November,
replacement,
after the other,
the new one,
huh?
that was a replacement.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, we're not
It's
adding,
not new.
yeah, we're not
It's a new
adding,
one.
We
we're
got
not
a new
adding
one.
vehicles.
It's a new one.
Yeah, but you didn't add a new vehicle.
Oh, no,
Just
no, no, we
replaced
didn't, we had the same amount that we had
Right.
previous, yeah. It's just that we got newer vehicles, and we paid off the police chief's car last year, so there's no money for that in this budget. The unmarked car, I should call it. Okay, Benji?
It's easy to forget, I used to do this all the time myself, that at any particular point during the day, there are only 2 or 3 officers here.
Yep.
So you don't need 6 vehicles, you only need 2 or 3.
Right now, of course, there's probably more here during the day because of the training and so forth, than there will be eventually in the future. Tony, I think Tony's even
He works
not
nights.
riding by himself.
Yeah, he
you know?
works
Yeah.
nights.
So it didn't take long for him. What? Oh,
Would you tell the people what position Tony finished in the academy?
Yeah,
Yeah, I was telling him that. He finished in the top 5% of his class, and I think it was 3rd place.
Yep.
So, how long is he gonna stay in the Whitford? Anybody's guess. Be blunt about it.
he seems to be happy to be back though.
Yeah, he is. He's very happy. He does a good job. Okay, anything else with police? Do you have anything, Mr.? I was gonna call you Officer Fallon, but I'll call you Mr. Fallon.
No, sir. All right, good night.
All right, so we all set with police? Now's the time to ask. No, you still got one more time to deliver a second. Okay, we all agreed on 809 to be the figure?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. The pool. As you can see, that's, there was a request for 40,644, and the Finance Committee recommended 26,213. And the Selectmen recommend 27,565 due to, what was that, due to
Because, there's the installation of some equipment there that's actually not real, I don't know if that should actually fall under the pool, or if it should fall under general
You're talking
government
about the
building.
equipment that was
The
put
cam-
down there?
Yeah, the cameras and,
Those are all paid for.
yeah, but there's still the monitoring and the telephone lines
yeah.
and stuff like that. I don't even know if that should be under the pool or it should be under general government buildings. But this year we can run under pool. The other thing is the electricity.
Yeah.
Was it, I mean, I put the electricity in there, I don't, my original thought was $1,000–1,500. But supposedly the actual figure that we had here wasn't the real figure.
Of what they actually used last year.
Yeah, that's what I was told, so that's why I increased from 1,500 to 2,500, my recommendation.
So where's the rest reported then?
I,
I'm just asking.
yeah, I'm not,
That would be out of the revolving fund.
alright, and, see, that's the tough thing about the pool, is that I don't have a firm grasp on how it's supposed to work, because I thought that we had paid the salaries and FICA out of the general fund, and then the revolving account paid everything else. But if you have a shortage of electricity, I mean, the pool house gets metered for all the electricity at the park, whether it's the lights that go on the tennis courts, or if it goes on the basketball courts. So, we have to try to find a happy medium to divide that stuff.
Right. So is this is a figure that we had agreed upon when we did the budget?
Yeah.
27. This is gonna be sufficient then, right? Because I know that the pool director, as we can see, had asked for a lot more.
Yeah, for 40,000.
But that was based on doing some other things there, I believe.
Mr. Lawrence, I think someone had their hand up.
Which one was it? Mr. David Lage? Mr. Lage? Proceed with caution.
If the additional cost you're putting in here is for electric down at the park, why is that not under the general government building line item?
I think that's what he.
Yeah,
Correct, but
mentioned.
and that's something that we need to, I mean, I don't know if, can we move that in the budget now? Or-
Very good.
Sure you can.
I mean, I would have no problem.
You wanna take it, what do you wanna take out of that?
I mean, you take
You
the
said
whole.
$1,500?
No, there's $2,500 there. I mean, what happens with the pack, everything's metered to the pool house.
Okay, so you favor taking $2,500 and putting it up in this other figure up here in general government buildings, the 58,644?
If that's what the amount of money we need to run the electrical at the town park, yeah, I would be in favor of that.
As long as everybody understands it's coming out of the town buildings. Okay,
Well, no, hold on a second. If we move it there, right now I'm looking at general government buildings and there's no line item that says electricity for the park area to add it to. Well, no, he says it's being accounted already
No,
somewhere in the revolving fund or whatever.
no,
it
it's
be.
from the pool's revolving account, that's.
But we, okay.
If you had a $2,400 bill this year, 1,400 of it came out of the revolving account, the other 1,000 came out of the pool budget.
So
in the
25
past,
would be
the
sufficient.
advice of the FAC had been that the revolving fund was to be used to pay the cost of the pool chemicals, the operation of the pool.
Right.
It wasn't to cover these other extraneous
Yeah.
costs.
So I would definitely, how about if I make a motion that, oh, wait a second.
one minute, Benty?
Why not split it between Parks and Rec and the pool? Just do an arbitrary split, 50-50 or 1/3, 2/3, whatever seems reasonable.
Because the pool has to use a certain portion of it,
A
running
big
the
portion.
pump
Yeah.
all the time.
Big-
Yeah, they use a lot, I mean,
For a couple months,
Right.
Yeah.
once it's open.
yeah, I would be in favor of moving it just to government buildings because it's government property.
You said you gotta create a line, is that what you just said?
Yes, we would have to create a line.
Can you do that?
It would just go with the rest of the electricity lines, that's all.
Okay. You can't do it once it's voted on by the public, so. You have
Is
to
the
create it.
electricity from all the buildings in general government buildings?
No.
I got, no,
No.
No,
no, because some of the different departments have their own, like the board of selectmen oversee this building.
That's not.
So that's all, something we may need to look at
In the
for,
future?
so that we can gauge better of what's going on by all means.
Okay.
alright, so that, you made a motion?
I'll second that.
Was there any more discussion? Okay. You so moved to split it?
No, to move the whole, right up into general government buildings.
Can you second it?
I will
Okay,
second
motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
I don't have a problem with it, as long as everything is up and up.
Well, should we go back and
We have to,
support the general government buildings
yeah,
now
we
with
gotta
that
change
increase?
that figure, I guess. Might as well do it right now, right here, so you don't have to do it later. What's your total now?
61.
Hmm?
61, 1,
61?
yeah, 144.
All right. Okay, we're all in agreement then, right?
Yes.
So the pool drops in 2,500. Everybody got that? Mr. Lage, you got it? Thank you.
Right on the same page with you, Mr. Lawrence.
Okay, so it's 2,500. 25.
25,065?
25,065, that is correct.
Okay, what is the building?
61,144.
All right.
61, 144.
Okay, everybody agreed on the pool? Any other comments from the board? Okay. I guess the selectmen agreed that that's the way it should be. That's what we're gonna present to the voters for the deliberative session. Public Works. Public Works. Okay, as you can see, there's Finance Committee recommended 699,002, which was a difference from the requested amount of 45,321. The Selectmen then went back to 701,059, which increased it naturally by, because of certain things. One of the things in this figure, by the way, is, I don't know if it came out of the Finance Committee meeting or not, was that $37,000 that was going, he wants to use for a dump truck, for the lease of a dump truck in 2013 is included in this figure. So, rather than put an article or a separate article in the warrant, included that in this budget. We need another dump truck, to be honest with you. Right? You agree, David? Was that the way it was when you were sitting here, right in that chair?
Which chair was that, Mr. Lawrence? I wanna make sure.
You were sitting right in that one. You and David Parsons. Right.
That's exactly right.
Then I had Ronald right beside me. Okay, Public Works. Any comments, questions, anything else? There was also some crushing gravel, right? And
No, what happened,
sand,
okay.
screening sand.
Yeah, we put back in crushed gravel.
No, yeah, but let's explain how it happened first. First off, the increase of the $2,000 is basically workman's compensation from the selectmen's changes to the finance committee changes. What we had, was it the greater the backhoe that the lease was still?
Tobacco tax paid off.
The backhoe lease was still in the budget when it went to the finance
That's
committee.
right, yeah.
What we did is we paid off the lease for the backhoe and kept the money that was originally in there and moved them to crushed gravel and
Screen sand,
screen sand.
and,
So the budget stayed the same.
yep. There was some changes, basically. I don't know if that's the way you had it or not, Ashley, when, was that the figure you had? Because it was, you had a difference of $50,000 when you called and asked about it.
From last year to this year?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Okay, well, I guess it's all gone by then. Yes,
Mr. Lawrence, then you didn't change the budget correctly. If
we
you
didn't change
recall
it
during
correctly?
the FAC meeting, it was discussed extensively that the town had more than ample quantity of crushed gravel down at the yard that you paid for this year that had been done. And that the money that had been budgeted for crushed gravel was what was going to be going towards the cost of leasing a vehicle. If the backhoe payment a decision was made by the board after the fact to pay it off, which is a prudent decision, then the highway budget should have been reduced accordingly. You still have the gravel material there, and to go and add more money into a line item for something that you already possess, I don't
You
think.
mean gravel?
Gravel, correct.
I think what he felt was that he didn't have enough screen up there, if I remember correctly. When he sat here, that, maybe you were here that day too, were you here? You were
Yes,
here
when
then?
we were talking about the screened sand, and we left the line item in there for screening sand,
Were you?
but the
You
crushed
sure?
gravel, he agreed he had more than enough material up there.
Not sand.
I didn't say sand, I am talking gravel where you took the money and added it back.
We added a
A
portion of
portion
that.
of it,
Yeah, 9,000 and change, if I recall, being,
9,000.
But because I guess basically the public works director's argument was that it wasn't enough, or he might need it this year naturally. I guess what he was saying was that you thought there was a big pile up there, right? Which there was quite a bit up there, there's no doubt about it.
he agreed, he had a large pile up there,
But he
more than
al-
twice what he had anticipated.
But he also said that he could use it up in a fairly short time if things warranted it, I believe. Anyway, all right, so what are you saying now, that you should go back to $699 for the finance committee, is that what you're saying?
No,
I
that's
would
right.
suggest that the amount that you expended to pay off the backhoe lease should be deducted.
That's 37,000, not
No, it was
37,000.
17.
17,000 something.
Yeah, it was
13,
17.
17.
17.
No, because it was like 9, 5, and 5. How the money went to different items.
9, 5,
And this is just a question for me to the general public. And in my opinion, instead of non-funding of a line, because if you zero a line, you can never go back and do anything with the line. What happens if when we had the river flooding a couple of years back, you wash out roads, now you use up all your gravel.
You buy it.
But if you
You're
have
gonna
no
get
line,
you're
to purchase it,
But you can leave $1 in there. That holds the line open, we've done that on many of the line items.
So you would like to see yours reduced by 19,100?
I don't think it was that much that you paid off.
That's what I got the
Is that what
difference
it
in the
was?
lease amounts right
Yeah.
now. That's what's on my paper at this point. I do not know for sure what the
Where'd you get that from?
I just did the
Yeah,
simple
I
math
know.
between the lease amounts.
It was still on there. The lease amount for the cruiser and the backhoe?
Cruiser isn't on this.
yeah, no, if you go down to the bottom, DPW lease forms, it's 19,000,
100.
yeah,
That must have been the backhoe then,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
I thought it was 17.
But that's what you would like to see finance committees reduced by? At this
Yeah, I
point?
mean-
Well, I'm just saying, at
Yeah.
this point, you can't, we got
I
1,
can't
2,
speak
3.
on the finance committee.
Well, we
I'm
got
here as
3
an
of you
individual.
plus George here, that you've got
Yeah,
pretty much the
yeah.
majority sitting here, so I don't mind if you guys would like to say that, we can put that in for you.
So that decreases it by,
I'm all for it.
hmm?
I'm all for
Well,
it.
I'm
We've
for
already
it.
paid for it. Why don't we take it out?
Well, I think that the main thing was to make sure that there was enough crushed gravel in case he needed to rebuild roads, and that the screened sand was another issue, but you're only talking about crushed gravel right now, so.
I'm just talking about the finance committee's portion of this, I'm not talking board of selectmen right now, I'm just talking
Oh,
theirs. Okay,
If you wanna reduce it, I don't have a problem reducing it by,
Yeah, I mean, I would cut the $9,000 figure in half to 4,500.
all right, take that out of
I
it.
mean, the thing is, in my opinion, if he doesn't need it,
Yeah,
and he doesn't spend the money, it should go back into the general fund.
But
or
it
fund
never
balance.
does. It
But
never
that's,
does.
the selectman's job to make sure that happens though, then we're not
But
doing
you
that.
don't do that, you spend it. So let's look at it practically, is that if the director came before the FAC and agreed with everything, the board makes a decision to pay off a piece of equipment with excess funds, which is a prudent decision. But now, leave it in there, and let's cover other costs, is it prudent financial?
But as a selectman of the town, you have to make sure that you cover stuff that you think might be needed.
Have you gone up there? Have you gone up to the transfer station?
Yeah, I've seen the gravel crushing.
Okay, even in a worst case scenario, the town washes out a bunch of roads. The material that's out there that is uncrushed is still good material.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not an expert on knowing how many cubic yards goes into a road to be repaired.
Well, you got 100 acres up there, and Mr. Lawrence would know how much land we have up there.
What? How many acres?
3 acres.
You know, it's 138. But it's not all gravel,
I understand that.
there's only so much left there, that's the problem. Yes, Jason?
Yeah, if that was a policy that you would keep that dollar amount in the budgets every time you paid something off, where would it, I mean, can you imagine the budgets in 20 years? It would be
That's
crazy.
right. You know, I assumed that was already deducted out, or I didn't realize you guys went back, didn't take it out of there.
What?
The 19,000 or whatever.
We went back that
You know.
day, you were
Yeah,
sitting
we
with
had
the
a meeting
camera
and-
when
I-
Peter was here.
I knew that that stuff was gonna be paid off, but you didn't adjust his budget to that.
Yes, he did.
No, what we did. is-
Originally he did, yeah.
No, what we did is we paid off the stuff and then used that money so we wouldn't cut his budget and we'd be able to replace some items that the department head came to us saying that he needed.
Okay, basically, Ronald, what happened was he took that out of there, and then, if you look at it in another way, I guess, you have to figure that if you took out $19,000 by paying off that lease, but then you put in another $18,000 in there for the lease of a dump truck, right? So, that made a change right there, anyway. That lease of a dump truck is 37,000, I think, even, or somewhere around there. That's in this budget too, so.
George?
No, yeah.
Yes.
If past talkings, when you go to crush material,
Mhm.
there's usually a minimum amount that the crusher will do in order to come in the first place. Is that what the 9,000 is from?
It probably is, what was it running the last one? Well, you can't get the same guy now, cause he's not doing it anymore, so last year probably was cheaper than what you're gonna get this year, it was around $4.50 a yard, wasn't it?
Yeah, but there's usually a minimum amount that they're willing to come to the site and do.
He runs about 3,000, he was crushing both of
What,
them.
another portion of that money
Yeah,
went to the fuel line.
yeah, we changed that.
Because we had
Yeah.
spent this year actual $49,000 and it was only funded at 45,000. So we had a $4,000 possible shortage depending on the price of diesel fuel.
And if you look at what you had carried last year, was much higher than what the rate was this year. And Mr. DeGoey agreed with the numbers that the FAC presented. So, at this point in time, everything that got presented to the selectmen, your director of public works agreed with.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
So if he agreed that he could operate an efficient department with that amount of money, and the board makes a decision to pay off a piece of equipment early.
No, I understand your point, but what I'm saying, as a member or a former member of the Board of Selectmen, if you see that you're spending $50,000 on fuel, and you only, fund 45,000, aren't you in the best interest of the town to move that number to 50,000?
To answer your question, if you look at the previous year, what was budgeted for the price per gallon of fuel, I believe it was much higher than what the price of fuel has been. So that's why we asked him, can it go less? We also spoke about ways of saving on the price of fuel, which I don't know if that's been implemented.
Actually, last year's fuel, the reason why that line was increased was because of the vote of the public to raise the budget. Part of that $100,000 that was voted on by the public to, or was it 100 or?
113,000.
Yeah, that was voted on by the public to increase the budget. Some of that money went into the fuel line that made that fuel line 57,000. That wasn't the original number that had came through at the beginning of the year because of cost of fuel.
Right, but Mr. Conley, you remember why the person got up at the deliberative session and made the motion to increase the budget?
Oh yeah, no,
You recall?
Yep.
Okay, was it to increase fuel costs?
Nope,
Okay,
Yep, no, I totally agree with you.
Mike, that's two different, that 57 was the actual.
No, that was
the year
increased
prior to
in-
that, that's not the budget, the budget
No.
was 50,000 last year.
No, but that was
But we did
increased
increase-
by the Board of Selectmen after the vote.
We did, we increased it by 5,000,
Because
the
I-
budget was
I remember being
45,000 after going into the deliberative session last year.
Yes, Betsy.
Is this dump truck lease a one-year lease?
It would be, oh, it'd be more than that, because you put it in the following year after so many years you own it. So it amounts to-
Well, leases longer than a year have to go to the voters as a separate article, unless you include a non-appropriations clause
You're right.
in the lease.
I think it's a year, yeah. I'm not sure which one he's looked at, I hope it's only for a year, because you can't do it otherwise. You're right about that. I never asked him, to be honest with you, he just said that he had gotten prices and it was $37,000 for a dump truck to lease it for a year.
Oh.
We can check that out too if you want, I mean, naturally, you should. Do you know?
Nope.
You're right, you can't go more than a year with a lease unless you go to the voters. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that it's only a 1 year lease, and then the following year or whatever, you'd have to have it back again. But, I haven't seen anything on it anyway, and you won't until after March if it passes, and then you'll have to have an answer definitely. It's either that or just take it out of there and forget it, but he needs a dump truck, that's why it's in there. We bought one last year, right? We had one dump truck and a pickup truck, and, we still need another one, cause we still got, equipment that is getting old. What is it, 95 now? The one that we need to change now, or replace, I should say.
And the
That will be in fairly
capital-
good shape,
The
what?
capital reserve is, what, only 50,000?
No, it's
Less
pretty
than-
well depleted, that's
Yeah.
why, that's another reason why you couldn't have an article this year. Yep. And you can't use it the same year that, you can't use the amount that you put in the same year. So, last year's could be used this year. It won't do any good, cause you're lucky if you can get a new dump truck for that, even now. What was it, the last one was, what did we pay? You were here when we had that price, what was it?
Well, the article was 200,000.
Yeah, over, wasn't it?
Do what, the truck we just bought?
Yeah.
That was $174,000.
You know what that one was?
Yeah.
Fully equipped?
Fully equipped.
Okay. It should have been, because the year before you had it, it was 171, so it went up a little bit. Okay, anything else on Public Works? What's your figure now? Did you change yours?
I didn't change anything yet. I have an opinion, my opinion, I mean, you have two people here who
What's
can
it
have
on the
opinions
floor?
also.
What are you doing?
You actually have a gentleman in the audience.
Yeah, I'd rather.
Which one, Jason?
I'm wondering if somebody's gonna amend that number down to.
You mean
take
right
the
now?
rest- Yeah, or
That's
is
what I'm
that?
asking, right now, we can change it
Oh,
right now.
you're asking the selectmen
Yes,
then?
of course.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You didn't?
I moved the,
Jason,
put the crushed gravel line back down to $1 for now.
okay, and the rest, and the.
And everything else stayed the way it is, but the
So it's
crushed
all
gravel.
on?
So it'd be 692,060.23.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
I,
All right, I guess it, the vote was 3-0, unanimous to go back, so that's gonna leave that figure at,
$1, so at least you have a line that you can fund.
no, the total figure is what we need now.
692,060.23.
692?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
692,059.73.
Right,
I'm going off a different list, I'm sorry.
okay, David? You're amenable to that?
I'm not, but can you repeat
You're
that?
not amenable to it?
No, the full amount should come out. There's no, I think I've been pretty clear on that.
Yeah, I'm going by a different sheet. I gotta double check hers too, that's all.
Could someone repeat that number, or is that what you're double checking?
That's what I'm double checking
Okay.
right now,
The
sir.
number he had was 692,059.73.
.73.
Why is that 9,000?
Well, no, and that's, so it'd be yeah. 692,060. Yeah, 692,060 will be on your sheets out there. Ours is in cents, the breakdowns.
Alright. You have the 73 cents at the end?
I do it on our sheet here.
Okay. Anything else on that? You happy now? No, you're not. I know you're not.
We got one more comment.
Did you say you took Jason?
Oh, I thought that the lease payoff was 17,000.
Yeah.
17.
There's other items we increased outside of that, like fuel back up to what they used last year.
Right. but
I
you're
just-
using
all I
money
did-
From one.
All I
paid
did
off
was,
lease, why not just?
I reduced the
Because
crush
we're gonna have
gravel
to try to
portion.
find the $5,000 somewhere else to pay for fuel. If we're gonna, if you use the same amount of fuel, or
Isn't that-
price goes up.
That's the whole thing of budgeting, is to be able to make sure you work within your means.
Yep, and that's
So
why
if
we
you just
got rid
keep
of the
pumping
lease.
more money into it, it's easy to work within the means.
I got a question for you, sir.
Yes,
If that is the case, are we at a point where someone's willing to write an article to reduce the number of employees we need? Because we can't send someone out and they're gonna stand in the shop because they can't run a piece of equipment.
your highway budget is made up of more than employees and vehicles and fuel.
You are correct. But fuel runs from an employee operating that piece of equipment.
I understand
So-
that.
So if someone can't run for 10 hours every week because they can't put the fuel in, then we don't need that person sitting there.
That's a Board of Selectmen's decision.
I would need direction from the town though to tell me that they think we have too many people.
I think the Board of Selectmen need to oversee the departments and assess the number of individuals that are there. If you're asking my,
Okay, anything else? Well, do you have any comment?
No.
Anyone wanna make any?
No, I'm also, I mean, like I said, I'm a firm believer that that $5,000 should be in the fuel line. That's, and
I mean, from, what are you reducing it back to now?
we
I'm
reduced
not.
9,000 from it.
Huh?
We took $9,000 out of the, actually 8,000.
900.
I know, out of the gravel.
Yeah, I know
I'm not
that.
touching the fuel.
Oh, okay.
Question.
The fuel is still in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Question.
What?
Could the town save money if they contract the service out to haul the dirt from down at the other end of town back up here? Because the truck's spinning all summer long running back and upside, hauling dirt on those 6-wheel dump truck. Why couldn't we hire a couple 18-wheelers and get it done in a week or so?
why couldn't we just deliver the salt up there, which we already paid to have delivered to town, and not have to move that material from up there down here?
Yeah, there's gotta be a way to save money, because we are wearing these vehicles out running back up and down this hill all day long.
And they're
For all
not
summer long.
designed for that kind of load, you're right.
That's right, that's right.
Well, there was an article for a 10-wheeler not too long ago that would.
That's not solving the problem, because
That would've helped that situation.
that would have helped the situation, but I'm asking the selectmen, why don't they look into it, see if we can save money by hiring an 18-wheeler to haul the stuff up here
People have
until.
been asking selectmen that for the last 30 or 40 years, probably. and Still, it doesn't matter what the board is, it doesn't usually happen, does it? As far as the salt goes, that's one reason they don't put the salt up there.
But Chairman George, the
Yes.
trucks are getting worn out, but they use it all summer long, running up and down it, all summer long, and we got no people doing road work. They're hauling dirt.
All summer long?
Yeah,
Well, I don't know about that. They do haul, if they go up there, they bring a load back a lot of times, yes. They also have stuff piled up here, don't they?
but when they're doing this, we have nobody doing road work.
Well, I guess how'd the roads get fixed then?
Well, we hire a contractor to come in and put the pavement stuff down
Yeah, they do that.
and crush up the roads, and our town doesn't do the roads.
You're probably getting a little off track, but you're.
I'm just trying to see how we can save money.
Questions that are always asked, there's no doubt about it. The town, as far as paving goes, the town doesn't have a paver or.
That's right, I'm not talking about paving, I'm asking, we're wearing out our
We're talking
vehicles.
about paving.
No, I'm talking about we're wearing out our vehicles by hauling this dirt from down the town dump back up here. Where we could maybe hire a couple 18-wheelers for a week or something. How much money could we save? That's all I'm asking.
Has anybody ever studied it? I
I'm
haven't.
not the chairman of the board or the road, in charge of the roads.
You are on the road committee.
I know, that's why I'm speaking.
Okay. I don't think anybody's ever done a study of that, but anyway.
Maybe we ought to have a
What's that?
study, $100,000 to do
Total
that.
for what'd you say, Ron? What'd you say?
I said maybe we ought to have $100,000 study to do that.
Why do we have to do a study? Why can't we just do it?
Exactly.
Anyway, getting back to, that's 692,059.73, right?
I'm fine with that.
All right, you? Okay. No change. I know David Lage isn't happy with it. What can I say? I'm gonna tell him I'm sorry? I can say that, but he won't believe it. Okay, so the figure there is 692,059.73. Probably will change the bottom line, right? When we get to it. Street lighting. Anything on street lighting? Comments? Anybody?
Their contract doesn't come up till like 2015, because the first year that I was a selectman, I had talked to them about, you can have them put in they have timers in all the street lights, so you could actually have a reduced hours, so it would lower the rate, but they wouldn't do anything like that until they come around to redo the lenses and stuff.
You're talking about public service.
Yeah, I'm talking about the street lights, so you could actually have lights that went off at 2 in the morning, or you could adjust them you could lower your rate a little.
Well, they go around and do audits every so often if
Yeah.
you wanna ask them to.
No, but yeah, and the next time they're supposed to be in the town of New Ipswich is 2015.
Have the police department shut them off at nighttime with their spotlight.
2015 is the next time? Yeah, 2000 was the last time I think the audits were done, if I remember correctly.
So there's really not much I
Everything
can do
was
there.
revised. They revised the street line, pretty much coincided with Town Hill out here with that project too. Put in a new kind of light.
Tax collector.
The town gets cut back on street lights. Got time anyway. Okay, so street lighting's still gonna be the same. No change in the rates, right? The tax collector? Anything on that one? We can go across the board here, it's 30,731 is what was proposed by the selectmen, and the finance committee recommends 30,709.
That's a $22 difference.
That's all. And that was due to the same thing, computation.
Workman's compensation.
Comment? Nobody? It originally requested 30,666 and it's changed. Okay. The town clerk. In the request is 63,322. And finance committee recommended 58,908, which is a change of 4414. And then the selectmen went back and adjusted it to 62,091.
Because of,
One was a salary increase, wasn't there?
Yep. That's the bulk of it.
salary increase
Yeah,
for who?
assistant.
Well, yeah. That and the increased hours, we also increased our hours in the spring. We increased the, it wasn't shown correctly because we didn't backgrade it. We increased the hours by 2 hours.
No, I thought that was last year that was done.
No, back in
But
April
just
with
recently in the
113,000.
paper, It said that you also increased, because she's working on Friday, you increased
No,
hours.
there was
by
never
2.
no increase dealing
It
with
was in the
Friday.
paper.
Not with
Not
Friday.
that I know of, she
No.
just increased her hours to Friday.
That was adjusted, Gene. The Friday thing means that one of the, Cindy, one of the assistants was gonna work.
I know, but the paper said that you increased their hours by 2.
They adjusted their hours, but we did increase their hours back in April by 2 hours, back when I first got on, when we did all the numbers, so that
You
plus
got
her
that
pay
extra
increase.
money.
Right,
I think it went
I don't
from
remember.
22 to 24, didn't it?
yes.
I
So
said,
it didn't go to 26 hours?
Was it 26?
I don't
No,
believe it
should-
went.
No. She only works 24 hours, so
Oh,
Cindy.
well, that's when
So
she's
she was
open.
trying to get
That's
her.
when she's open. Okay, go
whatever,
ahead.
she's open 24 hours. So her deputies, but between the two of them work 24 hours, right? Not, they don't each get 24 hours.
No,
No.
no,
One works
I'm trying to
only
find
one
that
day, I
page.
think. Then she went back and readjusted the thing so that
Yeah.
she could have one come in here on Fridays.
Oh,
The deputy assistant line was where the increase was, from her set. Because her deputy assistant line went from $10,707 to $13,517.
And what was the reason for the increase?
Pay increase.
Pay increase.
I understand that. What was the reason for the pay increase?
So you can keep that
Just
out.
asking.
She came up on her 6 months.
Yeah, and you, again, we've had a reputation that we don't wanna keep our help and stuff like that. It was a way to say that she has done a decent job and, you know, in trying to keep employees wanting to be employed by the town. I mean, everyone has a right to go and work wherever they want, but, I mean, you are trying to compete with private industry also that has secretaries and people of business knowledge.
The other, just as a point, the other deputy, well, not deputy, I guess, because this one, you don't call her a deputy, assistant was $2 more at the time. The present one got $1 more an hour. That's the pay increases that were done.
Okay.
Remember? You don't? Well, that's what happened.
Okay.
And there is a couple of the other lines you didn't have at the time. The FICA accordingly had increased, and then also you didn't have the workman's comp. Both of those were small amounts, but they did add up.
Okay.
We're all in agreement on 62091, or are we?
I am.
So that's beyond what the finance committee had to recommend. There was a reason why.
So what's your final number? Because you don't have 62 whatever.
91?
Yeah.
We don't?
It's on here.
That's what it says.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I was
Got
looking
it?
at the wrong one. Yeah, I was looking at the wrong one.
All right. Anything else? Town clerk, anybody? No? License is-
How can,
What, Penny?
how can a $1 or $2 an hour increase generate?
Well, that was part of it. I don't think it's all of it, no.
Oh, there's other lines went up?
There was some
What was budgeted last year is not correct with what happened in April, because also we increased her hours by 2 hours in April, so over the whole year, it doesn't show. So between that plus the dollar increase is why there's a $1,500 difference.
She now has 2 helpers because she has a deputy and an assistant, where before she only had the deputy.
But it's still the same number of hours
Right.
at the window, so it doesn't matter if you have 10 people or if they're all paid the same rate. I mean,
She don't really call, I don't even know if she calls that one a deputy, does she? I don't think so. Huh?
I thought she only,
Stacy is the deputy.
What?
I thought she was the deputy tax collector.
Jesse's
Yeah,
not.
but not town clerk.
Stacy.
No, yeah, and then there's no deputy town clerk, there's only an assistant.
Oh, I don't know. I
Oh,
thought
yeah.
she was deputy of both.
Anyway,
Yep, moving on.
all right, town office. 266 was the adopted in 2012, 280 was the recommended in 2013. And the finance committee went back and cut it by $5,635 back to $275,025.
And the board of selectmen left it there.
You did. Anything on that one? Anybody else? Any questions? Mr. Lage, you can't, because you agreed to this.
Because that's the wrong one.
You had a change of heart? No?
Did the Board of Selectmen purchase the server for the town office?
Yes. It was done, so it's not in here. Okay? What else was it? Anything else that was in there that was originally in the budget? The server? Anyway, there's nothing else on town office? Good. Rolling right along here, the transfer station.
that wasn't changed either, the same.
No,
Board of Selectmen and the Finance
The
Committee.
original proposals that he came to the finance committee was personnel plus, an increase in pay, right? One of them. There was an increase in pay for the attendant, and that was not done. So it went back to just the way it was originally. Took it back out of there, so it's 1601. Plus, there was gonna be another person that was gonna work for more money up there too, right? Yeah, that's the way it was. So, everything stayed the same with the transfer station, basically is the same as it has been. Hours and, personnel and everything else. Anybody else have any comment? Yes, Mr. Jones?
I assume this number, the budget number, is net of whatever revenue we get from selling the scrap?
Yep.
Is there any effort to try to up the other side?
Yes,
Selling the scrap part?
actually, the gentleman who started taking over the position is looking, how to sell batteries and other materials that come into the transfer station.
This is not a net number, isn't it, gross?
Yeah, no, actually, I don't know if that would be a cost number. Because, I mean, you're thinking about revenues coming in.
Yeah, he's thinking about revenue.
Yeah, which would be on the other side.
That's always
This
the
is
hard
just a
part of
cost.
this, is we don't have the income of what next to. We have to spend, this is all the expenditures.
Oh, we have transfer station.
Right, on the,
Right, on the back side, but it's not side by side a lot of times to show exactly what they're accomplishing up there.
Because it don't work that
Transfer
way.
station.
I know, I understand.
Actual
You gotta
revenue,
put the
$50,000.
So whatever the revenues were last year,
it's almost costing you.
deducted from the cost, yeah. Because of the municipal part, they don't.
So even though it costs us more, we are bringing in more revenue also,
Mhm.
on some things.
Sometimes. You get a bunch of TV sets and all that stuff.
You've also in the last quarter of the year, because of personnel change, there's been a little shift to just, sometimes a dumpster would be like almost full, okay, let's get rid of it. And instead of someone maybe taking a front end loader and trying to move stuff around, you know, they've actually done a pretty good job up there, in my opinion, of trying to ship out less.
I don't wanna get off this
Yep.
subject of, looking at budgets here, but can I ask what gave, the anticipation of almost a 30% increase in the revenue on the transfer station for next year?
Stickers.
Permit?
Permits.
Sticker here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Plus, Mike just said that there are ways of, he's trying to.
He's
work
trying to
things
sell
around so
corrugated
that
now.
I understand that, but I just didn't see that type of an increase.
Oh, I know.
Thank you.
He will take in more revenue. The unfortunate thing is, am I right in saying that the price of the tires went up? No, it didn't, did it?
No, but he's actually trying to find someone that's gonna haul them for free. We've gotten some information on that too.
But you also, there's one thing that we have to renegotiate another contract too. I don't think that was.
Yeah, they'll go out to bids and the company that comes in with the best deal.
Right. I hope it's figured in here. I'm not sure it was or wasn't, but anyway, either way. Okay, everybody satisfied with the transfer station? I wish there was another way Mr. Jones is doing that, but unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. You have to figure out on the other sheet what the revenues were and then figure out what it actually cost you.
No, I'm pleased he's thinking he can get 40% more revenue. That's pretty amazing. Somebody's doing a job.
Well, I think that's increased in the last 6 months, like Mike just said.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely been
There's
a movement forward.
been a number of changes. There's, looking back into trying to get rid of glass and, all of those things again, which haven't been really happening for the past X number of years. At one time, it was fairly lucrative, but sometimes recyclables are up, sometimes they're down too when they're in that business. Right now, it's all just combined together and shipped out that way. Treasurer. Okay, treasurer's budget is, the request was for $24,115, and then Finance committee recommended that
Don't
figure.
think there's someone more excited.
David? Thank you.
My apologies.
25,810 is what the selectmen ended up proposing here. There was an increase of,
Salaries,
oh, that was based on
deputy and the treasurer's salary.
Beverly's salary and the deputy's salary, that's right. Okay. Any other comments? David? I know you were interested in this when she was here, right?
Refresh my memory, Mr.
On the
Lawrence.
treasurer.
I'm fine.
Oh, okay. I thought you had asked, you asked a number of questions, which is all right, there's nothing wrong with that. So, okay, we're all set then. You're satisfied with this figure? Anybody else from the finance committee? Comment? No? 25,810. That was, as we said, it was just salary for the deputy and Beverly mostly. Trustee of trust funds.
There's really nothing to do about that one.
Hmm? What do you mean?
That's the cost of the,
Well, it's a cost plus what they get paid, yeah.
yeah.
It's a cost of when they shifted that money all over and put it all into that pool over there with, can't think of the guy's name now, over on the west, east coast somewhere. Portsmouth in that area, and they've accumulated quite a bit of money, but it also costs some money to do it, but they're ahead of the game right now, a lot more than they were getting from the banks and stuff with individual accounts, so. It'll be all in the town report, I hope. I don't know what the actual figures are, but that's why that figure is a lot more than it used to be. Welfare, it's anybody's guess. She spent $46,000, or requested $46,000, and that's just pretty much of a figure out of the air, I think. And, cause you don't know what you're gonna spend for assistance.
Actually, this year,
Finance committee, 46,550, what?
actually, we had a pretty fortunate year this year, because
So
she was
far.
down below
What we did.
that figure,
Yeah, she came in, what,
at 39.
You got 39?
Yeah.
All right, so, anything on assistance or public assistance or welfare? No? There were no changes in that one. Zoning is how academic anyway, I don't think there's any question about that one. And then tax anticipation notes are just pretty much there, so. Anything else on this sheet? The bottom line is what now? You haven't added up yet, have you?
Yes.
You did add it all up?
Yeah.
Great. You got it all that in your head, David, I know you have.
2,566,384.
2,566,000, right? 566, 384?
Yes.
All right, does that agree with your figures?
I have to read all.
Okay, that's a drop of,
It should be
$9,000.
$999.
almost 10.
8,999.
Almost 10?
No, you're-
I left one in.
I'm wrong.
Yes.
Okay. That's the figure? 2,566,384. So, that's the figure that, the selectmen are gonna recommend that the town, I'll put it in the article anyway, right? Proposed figure. Of course, down below you got all these other accounts, but, accounts, I should say you were articles from this year if you wanna do that one. Any other comments about the budget before
Yes,
we?
yes, Mr. Lawrence, just on, point, we discussed how the board had withdrawn the monies for paying off the lease on the backhoe,
Yeah,
and that money was reallocated. What about on the police
Cruiser,
vehicle.
that was done too.
It's been paid off. Has money been removed from the budget for that?
From,
Yeah, there should be no more lease
it
on it.
wasn't in the original budget.
What
Police
you're asking
cruiser, I don't
for.
think it was, the police cruiser didn't have it in.
Yeah, it was in there.
Right. Huh?
It was in there. That's how we found it.
We hadn't paid it off by then? The tobacco wasn't, tobacco was in.
Police cruiser was in paperwork we had on the finance committee, that's how we found it.
Okay. You may be right. I don't think it's in there now, I hope it's not. He was gonna take that budget back and readjust it, remember?
Police
On the
lease,
finance committee, what?
the police lease line,
Yeah.
it's down to
Still there?
$2, no, $2,
Just keep it open.
just to keep the line open.
Yeah, so this year.
Yep. Next year budget, he was at 85,
Police lease is
and then,
51,
yeah,
86.
that money left his budget.
Yeah, it was this way. But you're asking, that isn't what he was asking, Mike. He was asking if that figure was still included in this year's police budget.
The 53,
Yeah, that.
it's $2.
The only thing,
Okay.
the difference between
So he
ours
did
and yours,
readjust
David,
it.
is the fuel. Otherwise, ours matches yours.
He adjusted it.
So, to say that the lease money actually went to the fuel.
What,
If you would
police
like,
department?
if you would like to say, I mean, the lease was 5386, but yes, there's
You
2,000
added
added to the fuel. That is correct. So some of that would have been taken out of it, yeah. But he adjusted other numbers in there also. But as far as our two lines are identical up there except for fuel.
There's no lease in the FAC budget. He took that out. So what you approved did not have the lease in it.
No,
Right.
Thank you.
I didn't think it was, I thought it was left out in the beginning, but the highway, I think tobacco was still in that.
It was.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because at the
Yes.
time that was in a discussion with the FAC.
Well, Betty,
A small point for Marie. Shouldn't the heading on the rightmost column be percentage change 2013-12?
Sure. Is it?
No?
You're comparing
Yes,
the,
of course it should be. 12, 13.
or 13-12.
Yes, where are you when I need you? You need to approve
he found it, didn't he? I didn't see that either.
See, now we know why we met you.
Yeah, see, those little details, little typos.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Ron.
Clear my mind up, just for me, this is just for me, maybe I don't see something. But she bought that piece of equipment for $9,000, right?
Huh?
Your
server.
new server,
Oh,
right?
okay.
That was in your budget. You
Yeah.
asked for $280,000, we only cut 5,000 out, where's the other 4,000?
All right, hold on.
Okay.
What are you asking for here?
Might have been a reason, I don't know.
Wait a minute, you're talking about computer?
Run.
I'm talking about the new server.
Yeah.
I think we took the 9,000 out of the FAC, and the others did a first line item budget changes.
Okay,
Yes, you did.
okay.
It's not in there. After, you persisted, Ron, and you won. Right?
I don't know if I won, but
You
okay.
did win. You wanted to take it out of 2012.
The town
Oh,
won.
you- yeah.
The town won.
The town won.
Yeah.
Okay, Ronald, you didn't win, it was the town that did win. That's what we're all here for, I hope, is for the good of the town. If not, we're gonna go home. Okay, where are we now?
Revenues. Turn over that little paper you got. Not that one,
This
not
one
that
here?
one, towards me.
This?
That one.
Oh, I don't wanna look.
Which revenue?
I know they're down, right?
Not really. I think they're bad.
Oh, you wanna change these if we need to? I think you're pretty well down pinpointed anyway, don't you? Huh? Yield tax, that all depends on how many
I did get that.
people cut. Ron? Thank you.
Sorry.
You got your sheet with the revenues on the back of it?
I don't think so, that's all, but, yeah,
Back it
I
up.
got it.
He did it.
Here we go. All right, land use change tax, everybody knows what that is. There isn't any of that right now, apparently.
Well, the
It all
reason
goes
there's
to
none,
the
thank you.
Conservation Commission.
Well, up until $50,000, and you
Yeah,
never
and we
reach,
haven't
don't
made-
reach that point.
No, we haven't
Years
made
now.
that.
It's still 50, isn't it? Or is it-
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yield tax. Okay, that's, depends on how many people decide they wanna cut trees and harvest them. That's just a figure that, most of these figures are the ones you just generally pull out of the air anyway, to be honest with you, because you never know. Even though you have last year's figures to go on. To excavation, that's all Board of Assessors, basically, no, planning board, right? Not assessors, planning board. They do, that's at 3 cents, 3 cents or 2 cents? 2 cents, 3 cents a
No,
yard.
excavation is assessors.
That's yours, you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So it's $3,000, which is, I hope they're accurate figures, but it takes a long ways to get $3,000 at $2 cents a yard.
Yeah, but
Interest and penalties, so, those,
About weights.
we took in 153 last year, but this year it's only anticipation of 74,000, what's that based on?
I had to take out the penalties that we received from those tax deeded properties that were bought back by the owners.
Oh,
I
okay,
took that out, so the estimates are based on the actuals for
okay,
2012.
all right,
Probably a little lower than 12 was because of the
yeah, we had two properties.
unknown. So all of my numbers are probably less than what actually,
2 properties,
we may get more,
Yeah, well,
but we
people
get to
came back.
readjust this in the fall.
2 properties?
Yeah, there's two properties where people came back, made payments and
There's
took
only
over.
2?
No, I mean, two that I can
Two
think
penalty,
of.
two that, well, that
Yeah.
kind of penalty
That was a large penalty.
Okay,
and interest. A lot of
motor
interest.
vehicle permits, the biggest one, naturally, and you're estimating $720,000
Yeah, I'm
this year
estimating up.
for registrations.
Should that be titled registrations?
What,
That's how we get it.
on the
Yeah,
state
state
form, it
laws
says
is
motor
motor
vehicle
vehicle
permit, basically. And then you got the mailing fees that are taken in from, that's Cindy's mailing.
Yes.
Building permit fees, estimated $10,000 worth of building is gonna be done, who knows? Depends on the economy. Right now, there hasn't been much. And then you got the other permits, which is, licenses, fees, and so forth. Gun licenses, they're not included in that, are they? Or are they?
No.
Cause they go for the police department
Yeah,
itself.
they're in a special account.
It can be used either or. Rooms and meals tax, hopefully you're gonna get from the state $230,000 this year. And that's just through the disbursement. I don't remember now, what's the formula they use? How they do that?
Oh my gosh, it's a big one.
It goes to all the states, the cities and towns anyway. Then you got the revolving loan reimbursement, which is just academic, I guess. Road taxes, that's minor. And you don't even get any more from the state and federal land. You used to get $200 or $300 at one time for the Marshall Forest, and there was one other one, what was it? You don't even get those now? I guess not. Then income from departments, who knows what that's gonna be generally, but you can estimate 40,000. The block grant is down, no doubt about it, from, you said you only got 129,354 last year? It wasn't more than that? What was the estimate, Betty, do you remember? It was in 100,
I thought it got up in the 140s.
Yeah, it was like
One
146 or 154.
well, anyway, so this year, you should have the actual figure here because it's already come. They only estimate 129?
I don't have it yet.
You don't have it?
No,
Peter's got it.
Peter has it?
You didn't, you never got a copy of that? Beverly, did you ever get it?
What is it?
Okay. The first two are pretty much guaranteed as to what you're gonna get, but the last two are
They own some.
sometimes up or down.
From the people.
It's not as much as it was, that's for sure. Okay, you wanna change this sale of town property? Last year we got 30,061.
Yeah, you
This
know,
year you plan on selling any property?
what, who knows, you have to wait
Do you
till,
wanna put a figure in there?
no,
You can always adjust this in August when it gets closer to
Yeah, but,
the, tax rate setting.
alright. It's better though if you put a figure in there now, isn't it? Then adjust.
but what if you don't really know what you have for sale?
You never know what you're gonna
Yeah,
have.
so I mean,
That's right, but
I'd rather
Okay.
estimate revenue,
never mind. It is revenue, but
yeah.
it goes into the general fund, doesn't it? Then you got the interest on investments, which is, anybody's getting, Beverly might know, but there isn't much there, $2,000. The impact fees, oh, you got impact fees, that's not impact fees.
That's just other fees and service charges.
Why'd you put impact in italics?
I'm not sure, I think that was there for some.
Those are all a different account.
Yes,
Then the transfer station, the reason this is 70,000 is permits, stickers? Right?
yes,
Yeah, this year, next year it'll be lower. And rent, I guess that rent is from the mobile home, one of them, right?
right.
Can somebody explain that?
Which? A mobile home? The rent? It's in a mobile home trailer park, where the town has a deed on the property and somebody's living in it, so you go through the process and then charge them X number of dollars a month. They have to pay the town.
So what is the town doing with this mobile home?
Renting it.
We're
Oh,
renting
so
it
we
right
become a
now.
landlord.
Huh? What? They're landlords?
Hopefully not for the long term.
Is it on the market, is it?
No,
What do
it's
you,
not on the market
what's the
yet,
intent
no.
to do?
They're supposed, the intent or the agreement when we, and it's a short-term rent at this point, it's not written for a long-term on purpose, is that they're supposed to figure out how to get their back taxes paid through family and be able to keep it. If that does not, then we will go like we went with the other properties, is the eventual intent.
So it's the current owner that's the tenant?
That is the current owner, that is the tenant.
But the town has already pretty much have a deed on it, right? And so it's harder to get it back once that's done, but there's a process you can use. Electric lights, that's a
That's
revenue
capital
from
reserve.
that account?
Yeah.
There's only $2,800 coming up?
That's very good, actually.
Right.
That is because of the investments that the trustees of the trust funds have been doing.
It's very good
It is very good.
compared to what it was a few years ago. It was more than that a few years
$200 a
ago.
few years ago.
What?
$200.
Yeah, but Beverly
Way
remembers
back
when it
when.
was,
There
it was in the
some money.
thousands.
Yeah.
Cause it's based on $125,000 when we sold the light company back in 1971.
Yeah, we used to make a lot of money on that.
Well, we didn't make a lot, but we made, it's better than
Well,
that.
compared to the 200
You're
that
right.
we've been making the
Absolutely.
past
Yeah,
4 or
you're
5
talking
years.
$600
It's
extra.
awful.
Absolutely, that's probably the lowest it's ever been. 200. Okay, cap reserve. Yes, Mr. Lake.
Question, where do, the payment in lieu of taxes,
What?
where does the revenue we receive for payment in lieu of taxes get allocated?
Payment in lieu of
I don't
taxes?
think we have any more.
Payment.
It's gone away.
They pay anymore, Brandon doesn't pay anymore, I don't think.
Yeah, he's kind of
The
giving
hydro?
up.
No,
He's
no,
giving
no,
up.
Okay.
All right,
not anymore.
anything else on revenues?
Capital reserve is changing because of David cutting out that warrant article of his.
Well, that was to use cap reserve, wasn't
Yeah,
it? Okay.
so this is changing.
All right. Moving right along here. Everybody knows what the default budget is. It just doesn't pass, don't they? Yes, Mr. Lake.
Is that open for discussion now,
Which?
the default budget?
Well, it's gonna be unless you've got a question regarding, everything we just covered. No?
Just the default budget.
Go ahead, ask your question.
Motion made at last session delivered, at the last deliberative session to increase the budget was for a one-time payment in order to retain the current employees
Yeah.
and to help on the recreation. Why is that not deleted from the 25 from 2,500,000,
Because
along with other one-time costs that,
it wouldn't be, because those costs, once they were voted in, that $2,500,000 is what your budget was last year, so that's what you base your default budget on for the year 2013.
less the one-time costs.
Which one-time cost?
It's not one time.
Where's the one-time cost, David? Please.
Because the allocation was to put it towards recreation at the time and to compensate the employees.
Okay, the employee's compensation is not a one-time cost though, right?
You are correct, but there was a delta between those two items. That money got used elsewhere. Shouldn't that have been taken out?
I'm not sure, I don't think so. I think that if you go by the DRA rules, that whatever your default budget is, or whatever your budget last year was, then that's how you base your default budget on the amount for this year. So,
There was no
I'm pretty
language in
sure
the budget article about one time, it was just scratch out the old number and increase it to
Oh, yeah.
2.5 million, so it's just the.
that was your
the
budget
new-
for last
the
year,
new
and that's the
budget
budget
number.
that you work off of for this year for the default budget, Penny, right?
Mhm.
We can agree on that? I know you don't agree, you think that,
We can agree.
you think that, now, maybe I'd agree with you as far as some of the recreation stuff that you're talking about, maybe that was a one-time deal, I don't know.
I was more alluding to the other items, not the rec or not the employee, salaries. It was that other,
Yeah. The other
Delta.
chunk.
yes.
Put $10,000 for trees and.
For the trees?
No, I mean, there's plenty of places you can find. But I mean, going on the rules of the DRA, I think that once you have that budget, your default budget falls in that place, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything saying about those items.
It wasn't a warrant article, it was the change of the budget numbers, so.
It was a warrant article, the budget is a warrant article.
It wasn't a separate one. The change that day, the change was the number.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Okay, so as far as his question is concerned, he's wondering why it was included in this.
I think Benty answered that.
What?
I think Benty answered that pretty good.
Well, Betty was a selectman.
Alright.
Now, the sad thing about Senate Bill, not Senate Bill 2, but the default budgets is there isn't any clear, as you well know, being a selectman for 3 years, there isn't any clear law that pretty much dictates how it has to be done, because different towns use different formulas and so forth. If you remember when you went to the seminar, did you go with me once? I think you did.
We've gone many places, George.
We did, but you don't admit it though. I didn't say anything about me admitting it, I said you don't. Right, so that's the unfortunate part of default budgets is how you arrive at the figures. Okay, anything else on default budget? Done? Good. Now, gentlemen, anything else you wanna cover here before we go to the warrant article? You?
Get one question on the
Yes,
budget.
Jason?
I'm asking you, Mr. Lawrence,
No, don't ask me.
in your memory, has the selectmen ever brought forth a budget that was lower, significantly lower than the previous year?
Yes,
You have.
I think so. If you go back and look, you'll find what naturally do it a number of times where they're even cut in, but I believe so. Didn't happen too many times, I guess you could say that in all honesty.
Do you remember which decade?
Could have been in 1980s, but anyway. I wasn't. No, I don't think they were in the 70s. The 70s, the first budget I ever worked on was cut, and then the selectmen went back and decided that, I was a greenhorn, I didn't know, they went back and decided to have a special town meeting and got the budget reinstated, so. But that's when the days when budgets were small, the budget that year was $125,000. those were the days when you signed checks for the Messianic Regional School for $25,000.
Those days are no longer.
I guess.
No,
Anyway, I'd have to go back and
I was just curious.
last year, I can say with certainty, last year was the first time I've ever seen a budget increase by the townspeople. Never seen that happen before, and probably never will again.
I hope not.
I guess there was a method behind the madness, but sooner or later you could end up in the long run perhaps costing the town more money than what was assumed. I don't know. That's just an observation. Okay, here we are. We've done the budget, so we don't need to do the zoning articles anyway. We did the budget, which is Article 4. Does everybody agree? And one of the things we need to agree is make sure that we agree with the order that these are in. Okay. So far? Oh, you can change it if you want.
No.
As long as you have the zoning articles first, and then the budget should be next, I suppose. And you can take the others and move them around any way you want.
The only thing about the town budget,
Yes.
you said that the budget as we speak right now is $2,566,000 and
Well, that's the figure.
$2,566,384.
Yeah.
It's actually $385
Was it?
because of that $1 that you left in that line.
Oh, Marie.
Yeah, oh, I see, yeah.
You didn't
there's
have
some
that
other
included,
things.
right? Okay. Good.
Well, if you have it on the paper, you might as well
Well,
have
the
it
thing
right.
is on
Oh,
this,
yeah, it's gotta be exact.
Then none.
on this one,
Jason.
it's 384.
Thank you. Thanks for
On
coming.
this one, it's 383,
Alright.
because of the rounding of the Excel spreadsheet
Okay.
as opposed to the BMSI software. and
Okay.
this.
All right. So that
three-
changed by $1. Everybody got that?
So what did you change it to?
No, I mean, what is the right
I'm
number?
going with 384.
Okay, then that's the number.
384.
All right, Article 5 then is the one for road. $250,000 to rebuild the Northwich Road. And it'll be a non-lapsing. Non-lapsing simply means that if you don't do it all in the first year, then you can carry it over into the next year, but you can't go any longer than that. Got that? You asking what non-lapsing is?
I'm sorry,
No.
excuse me.
No? Oh.
I didn't understand the difference between 5 and 6. It seemed like
Wait a minute. Oh, we'll get to that.
Sorry.
No, so you understand non-lapsing then? In other words, it wouldn't take long to spend this on roads in Ipswich, believe me. So you probably wouldn't carry over into the next year. And the Finance Committee recommended that 5-0 that article be done, or be placed on the warrant, and I guess they pretty much agreed that we needed the money, right?
The roads need help.
All right, now, the selectmen need to vote as to, number one, you wanna place this article on the
I'm
warrant?
in favor of it,
I'm in favor of it.
Okay, you in favor of the article?
yes.
All in favor of the article?
Yes.
Aye.
Okay, so the vote, as far as favoring that article is 3-0. Okay, Article 6. See if the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $350,000 to rebuild New Ipswich town roads. And this, again, is a non-lapsing appropriation. And that's also recommended by the Finance Advisory Committee, 5-0, is that right? Madam Chairman?
Yes, it is.
Okay. That, they're in favor of also raising this amount also, right? So between the two, you're gonna, if you vote for both of them, you're raising 500,000, no doubt about it. Okay.
600.
I mean, yeah, 600, what am I talking about? 500 was the figure they were talking about before. All right.
Mr. Lawrence, do you know how much they spent this year on
On which?
roads?
On new roads or rebuilding the road or just road maintenance general?
No, rebuilding the road.
So they
Along
rebuilt
the
the road, the lower end of Ashby Road this year is the road that they did.
Wasn't it 300?
What was the warrant article for?
Was it
'Cause it's
300,
what they-
250?
Yeah, but you also spent money on, Thayer Road also. And,
But some of that money was taken from other sources.
yeah, but part of,
But did they spend the full amount?
Yes,
Yes.
because they were going to be short, I think they had to take some out of their general budget to finish it.
Okay.
They didn't
No,
have,
we're gonna take money out of impact fees,
that was it. So that it could be done correctly.
impact fees.
Probably use both, cause Fair Road came to about $60,000 itself, 60 or 61.
Be nice if they finished it.
They mean the rest of the paving, all the way up? Part of that was a road letter of credit, grading. That was roughly $41,000.
I vote yes on Article 6.
All right, vote on Article 6 was, you vote yes?
Aye.
Okay. It's 3-0 on that article also. Article number 6, recommended by the selectmen. You are both recommending it, you're not just
Yes.
recommending
Yes.
putting it
No,
on the
I
warrant.
recommend it.
Can I ask why they're separated into two hearings?
Well, the road committee basically wrote these two, and so they figured that if, I guess in all honesty, Ronald, you wanna explain it?
What's that?
On the road committee, why the road committee split these two up? Ashley was
In
asking.
case we lose one of them.
If you put a warrant article for 500,000 or 600,000, it's going to have a hard time passing. Where if you put out a couple of them, maybe both will get passed, maybe at least one will
It
get
was,
passed.
it's a case of, well, hopefully you can get one out of the two. If you're really lucky, you'd get the two, but it's probably doubtful, to be honest with you.
We need the two though.
Well, you do, but last year was a $7 million bond, yes?
Is it unreasonable to think the town would expect you guys and gals to pick one or the other? To recommend 600 or 350 or? I've never been to a town meeting, so I know how the
Well, you're not-
process involves, but.
You're gonna go to the deliberative session, you're familiar with a deliberative session?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so, which takes place, replaces a town meeting actually, where you're gonna be able to amend these articles up or down and change them, or even take the monies out of any, they can be done that way, so. Do we recommend, I don't know, I guess the board, pretty much, the finance committee recommended both of them, and I think the selectmen just recommended both of them, but which one would you prefer? It's probably your question more than anything else. Actually, we requested 600,000, because then you would get some kind of a start as far as maintenance on the roads. Right now, it's limited with the amount of money that we've raised in the past few years.
Are there roads earmarked for this money already?
Yes. There are, in fact, what's number one? Number one, not Wheel Road, Foxfire,
The first road we done?
to be done.
For next year.
Oh, next year, I think
For
it's,
2013, because there's
yeah.
a variety of roads there, there's Four Farm Road.
aren't they
there's Wheel
talking
Road,
about Temple Road also?
Temple, yeah, going out to the Temple line.
Right.
That's another one that's on
Right.
the list, but,
If we can get all this money, we can get that Temple Road done too.
there was Temple and one other one that went with it. There were
I
two
think
that
it's
could be
Foxfire.
done with that,
I
what?
think it's Wheeler.
Pardon?
Wheeler and part of Poor Farm.
I think you're
Was
right,
it Wheeler?
I'm not sure, because,
Huh?
I think Peter told us that.
well, the
Wheeler?
Four Farm and Fox Farm were gonna be higher
You might be
because
right
of
on
those bridges or culverts that need to be, there's quite a bit of work that needs to be done up there, so they were gonna be done, I don't know.
I think that's why he didn't go for all of Poor Farm, was because he's gonna need to put forth a warrant like he's doing now for River Road to do engineering.
River Road, the engineering, yeah.
Right.
That's-
Right.
That's the next
Actually,
one.
I would recommend you contact Peter he has a list of priority roads.
Okay.
I should have it in my head, but I can't remember.
I should too, but I can't remember.
It's because they all need to be done, so there's.
That's why we had asked for the $7 million bond.
That's-
to be
I know
honest
for
with you,
that.
but you were only gonna use it as you needed it, it wasn't gonna be
I
taken
think
all
maybe
at
if that was explained
I
better,
thought-
it might
I
have,
think it
it
was.
might have passed.
Well, people,
They didn't understand.
well, maybe.
7 million's too big a figure for people to
Well,
grasp.
Anyway, Article 7, right? Is the next, oh no, Article 6 is the next one, that's the engineering study.
No.
That'd be
Article
Article 7,
Article
we just
6.
passed it.
You're on Article 7.
Yeah, I am, I'm talking about the engineering study, which is based on a figure from a local engineer, actually. So, to prepare those plans, and towns still have to get wetland permits, they're not exempt. And so River Road and Poor Farm Road, that's why we couldn't, didn't include those in the articles up above is, we're gonna ask for the engineering this year and then hopefully ask for the money for next year for the roads, after we get to that point. River Road is gonna be, probably quite costly when you add it all up. Has to be a lot of work done there. And Poor Farm has got the big culvert that's up there that comes down across. So the Finance Advisory Committee was 4-0. I don't know where the fifth one was that night. Were we missing somebody?
We must have been,
Huh?
we must have been.
I don't remember.
Either that or someone abstained who didn't vote.
Didn't somebody abstain? He could have.
Dave- I think Dave was gone.
All right.
Oh, yeah, Dave Person was gone, that's right,
He wasn't there.
I wasn't there.
Okay, what's your feelings?
Oh, I'm in favor of it.
All right.
I am too.
You're in favor? Okay, well, the selectmen vote 3-0 and recommend this article. So then we get to the cap reserve, which is, you can change these figures if you want to tonight, or whatever you wanna do. Vote and raise appropriate the sum of $163,000, $500 to be contributed to these funds that are already established. The highway capital reserve is $50,000. The fire truck is $35,000, that's fire equipment basically. The pool, which is gonna need a lot of work in the very near future, is only $4,000 allocated each year for that. And then Parks and Rec is $5,000. You may wanna look at these. Police cruiser, $10,000 a year. And then the reevaluation, everybody understands the reevaluation, the way that works, right? You go for a period of what is it, 4 years, and in the 5th year, you have to do all kinds of stuff, and it costs you about 3 or 4 times this much, the amount of money that's in there. Last time, we didn't have quite enough, but the company agreed to do it, so, for the amount that was in cap reserve. And then you got the building maintenance capital reserve, which accumulates $30,000 a year, and the fire department's protected gear article or reserve account is $5,000 a year, so that they don't have to put an article in every 3 or 4 years to buy protective gear.
They pulled that for this year.
What? I know you did. What I'm saying is
No, that's not what was
Oh,
pulled.
I thought you just told me.
I think
that it was
looked
equipment,
at the wrong
it was
thing.
gear.
No, that's still staying.
But this one's, no, this one don't, you can't pull that, you can't pull that out of there. You
That was
can,
a warrant
you can
article.
take it out if you want.
I'm just going by what.
You can take it out if you want, but
No,
the
I-
fire
I
department
made a
just can't
mistake.
come along and take it out. What?
Okay.
It was an article.
Okay.
That was
The
a
same
different,
stuff.
that was
It's
a different thing. That was,
You know, I
was
saw
it to
that
use cap
once.
reserve or was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in favor of this.
Actually, I got a motion first.
5-0.
I think-
What?
I would like to have these separated as separate warrant articles.
Why?
Better gauge. The comments I've gotten is majority of these, most people are in favor for, but every once in a while they're not happy with what's going on. They'd like to be able to vote no for that department.
You have a comment?
On the capital reserve, seeing what the cost of replacement of police cruisers has been, and looking at the frequency that we need, I would propose to increase the value in the police cruiser fund and reduce it out of your building maintenance capital reserve. Since that building maintenance capital reserve is strictly on building maintenance, and where we are now limiting the number of buildings we actually own and are maintaining, that we make that adjustment.
Comment?
Oh, I could see knocking $10,000 out of the building maintenance capital reserve.
I would recommend 5.
Alright, well,
You recommend knocking 5 out?
Taking 5 out, increasing the capital reserve on the police cruisers to 15, which is a replacement of a cruiser every 2 years.
That's about $30,000.
yeah, I can move that too.
I'll second that motion.
It's good.
All right, so you're saying that, you recommend,
Motion, David can't make motion.
No,
I'll
was
make
concurrent
a
with the
motion,
How come? You changing the rules?
I'll make a motion that we take
He's a fast
5,000 from the building maintenance capital reserve, that will make the $30,000 figure to a $25,000 figure.
okay,
That $5,000 will go into the police cruiser capital reserve, and that will be instead of being $10,000, that'll be $15,000.
45 the other one, right?
Say something.
any other comments on that right now? On this, that particular
You say what I thought.
police cruiser adjustment and the building maintenance adjustment? Okay, you made it as a motion, you seconded it?
Yeah.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so those two change. Any other comments about cap reserve? You made a motion to do what?
I made a motion to separate them as individual articles.
This is the way we've done it for, I
I've never
don't,
seen that done.
yeah, I don't,
Every other town I've dealt with has all have them separated, no one has them lumped together.
I've worked in several towns and I've never seen that done.
Yeah, Milford, Brookline, all,
That's
yeah,
really
New
up to you
Boston.
guys.
I think for the benefit of making sure you can maintain your capital reserves, you're right, some people will say, well, I don't want him to get a new
Yeah.
vehicle, so I'm gonna go.
Oh, I understand.
But,
And this is
I-
comments I'm just bringing forward, but
Yeah,
I had
that's-
people,
that's fine. If Mr. Lawrence wants a second here, that's fine, I'm
No.
not gonna.
Hang on, you made a motion to what?
No.
no,
you made a
no,
motion.
I'm still got the motion. No, because otherwise, you know, if too much goes on, then we get no cap reserve also, it's the backlash, and I've seen that also happen, that's when some got separated.
It's happened here, to be honest with you. Betsy, you were a selectman when that happened,
2 years ago?
huh?
What happened?
2 years
When
ago.
that,
Capital
the
reserve
article
got-
was, the whole
Oh,
article was
yeah, it went
defeated.
down, yeah.
Because of, I don't know what the reason.
Of course,
was.
if people feel strongly, they can amend it at the deliberative
Yeah.
session.
I'm not sure why you would wanna have individual articles, maybe. So you feel that if there's individual articles, then somebody could favor, say, fire truck and, they don't favor highway, so they wouldn't vote for the highway.
is that code red?
Not that one. Most of the, I mean, this is, ever since you've had a, pretty much since capital reserve was done in New Ipswich. First one started, what, in the 70s, I think, or maybe in the 60s. You did your research on that, didn't you? I think you looked it up one time and found the first article was way back in, was it to buy a dump truck? No, not the first dump truck, maybe it was fire. But anyway, it was quite a long time ago, and then eventually you got to, all these others were included. At one time, you only voted on one or two of these things. You remember, David, the man on the street remembers, he was there. But eventually, they were all lumped together. I guess selectmen in the past, and I don't know about selectmen in the future, they always felt that they should be all together.
And you know, if the public has such a strong point about it, there is the deliberative session, they can come and amend the articles then.
Well, you can, just like you can do it here, if you don't wanna, say, for example, do a,
I got a question though, with them lumped together and you go to, in deliberative session, you could do value, but it's the total value, the 163.5, you can't touch each individual one, can you?
Sure, you
Yeah.
can, you can,
Yeah, you can, you can,
Okay,
just like you
because
can say
I know there's
organize.
certain things you're allowed to touch and certain things you're not, and I don't know
you can change
exactly.
those amounts there.
You cannot change the wording of the article.
Okay, but I didn't know if you could do individual lines,
I
so,
think you can even do that.
okay.
That's
No,
why
You
you
can't
don't,
on the town budget though.
what?
Right.
And that's where,
You can't do what?
I
The
think,
town budget.
I think you could.
you can do by department, David, but you can't do by line item.
Used to be
I
able,
told them before.
used to be able to do
I
it in
asked
the old
this
town meetings.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah, at town meeting you can do
so
that.
good old days.
Some towns in Marine knows that some towns do every one of these things, all these line items, they have a warrant article for each one. They do, yeah, they still do it at the old traditional town meeting. Anyway,
You know what, you can change wording, but you can't expand It's that stay-at-home rule or whatever it is. You can't build a new police station and
Right.
add another line.
Yeah, they took away to C too, right? Remember that, Benty, to C?
Yeah.
Okay, so, I think that,
We'll keep
I
it as is.
would prefer to leave it like it is, but that doesn't mean that it can't be changed. You may come back, Mr. Connell may come back and think about it and change it before the deadline, which is, what's the deadline? What's the posting date,
The end of March.
what?
The posting date,
Before the deliberative session.
it's the end of this month. But I've gotta prepare all these documents, so if you want me to change something, it should happen tonight.
Right, no, I don't think we should
That's
change
fine.
that, but maybe I'm wrong too. Would be the first one.
I'm in
Right.
favor of all the capital
All that
reserves
you are?
anyhow.
Okay,
I'm so.
you make a motion
Wait,
to recommend it?
what happened about changing?
We
I
already
did make a
changed
motion.
yours.
You did get
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, that's
Thank
already
you.
taken care of.
Any others that should be changed, should be increased, or anything? That you, the pool reserve, capital reserve, I'm kinda wondering about that one.
I think we ought to look at it maybe.
Cause there's some extensive work that's gonna need to be done.
That's why we should get to Article 9.
Yeah, I know it.
So are we three and all in favor of the cap reserve?
Yes, 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 we vote 3-0 to put the article in and to recommend it. We haven't done any yet that we haven't recommended, right? We're slipping here. Okay, 9, okay, that's the pool. See if the vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $75,000. That's just for work, and to allow for the withdrawal of $40,000 from the pool maintenance cap reserve fund established for the purpose.
Now, can I ask you a
Go ahead.
question?
Yeah.
Did DRA have any problems with this one? Because, I mean,
You had a problem with the
No.
wording, right?
yeah, running, yeah, because you say you're gonna spend 75,000,
Yeah.
but it's kinda confusing that it seems like that you're really gonna spend 100, I mean,
Right,
104, 115.
right.
You gonna explain it, you want me to?
I know, I mean,
You think I can? I don't know how.
I mean,
Well, actually, you have to raise and appropriate that total amount. no
Yeah.
matter
Raise and
If it's
appropriate
taken from
75.
more than one place.
yeah, but I mean, so, I mean, shouldn't it be more clear that the other 35,000 is gonna come through taxation?
Usually we don't write it that way.
Okay, I just wanna make sure that the warrant article,
What do you mean, with taxation in there? No.
because I haven't read my budgeting book in a year, it just seems that this doesn't, it just looks awkward to me.
What you're saying
understand
is
what
raise
you're
and
saying,
appropriate 75,
Yeah,
and 40 is coming from,
but it says, and to
This is-
allow the withdrawal of 40,000,
Which was the way it was worded for the dump truck last year.
alright, it just,
That's right.
Actually, you need to change a word here or two.
yeah, I see that,
What?
I see that.
You
Too
see
many
it?
twos.
To allow
to.
for the withdrawal,
To allow, to allow.
Allow.
Okay.
Allow.
but that's the way you have to write it, or they won't accept them, unfortunately, true.
So
Yes.
in this case,
Does that deplete
it's
the pool
35,000
capital
Pretty much.
reserve?
that's going to be
Pretty close.
appropriated from taxation.
Yeah.
And then 40,000 from the
the capital
capital
reserve.
reserve.
Yeah.
Yes.
You had a question, David,
I asked it and they answered it.
already?
They're efficient, I can't.
Who answered it? Well, what was your question? I didn't hear it.
Will that deplete the, pool capital reserve account?
It does pretty much, don't it? Yeah. All right, anything else on that one? Everybody understands it, and that's just to put a Band-Aid on something that is
No,
really
but-
gonna have to be looked at extensively in the future, to be honest with you, if it's as bad as what,
Now, did the finance committee vote on that?
what?
Because I don't,
They didn't see it. You
Oh.
didn't see it, did you?
No.
We got 4 of you here, you guys would like to vote?
I wanted a new pool, you know?
You want what?
Excellent.
You won't get it as cheap as you got that one. Right?
How the department can look at
You
it.
were here when that was built, weren't you?
No, Mr. Lawrence,
You weren't
we had that discussion.
while I vote.
You didn't have anything to do with that
I wasn't even born then.
$207,000?
You wanna vote on this article?
I'm gonna vote against it. This is just a Band-Aid.
You're gonna vote against it?
It's a Band-Aid, you said, right? Why will we
It
waste
is,
money?
but
It's a substantial Band-Aid,
Yeah.
at least, it's much better than
They'll
what,
hold
right
us
now,
for
there's
another
some
10
safety
years
issues
or
down
something
there.
for $7,000 a year, it's a good investment.
Alright, so on the finance committee, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, wait a minute, so that's
Be
real.
4-0.
So it's 4-0.
Ron vote for it?
Yeah,
He did? Okay, I thought he wasn't going.
well, you gotta explain some things to me.
Ron says yes?
Yes.
No, yes.
You changed your vote?
Yes, I never voted negative, I just was trying to get,
I thought
he
you
said it was a Band-Aid, and then the other finance committee, they kind of,
It is
enlightened
if-
me a little bit.
It is
I
if you
said,
look
okay,
at
my vote.
the reports that were made up and so forth, the company that came here, they just did an estimate on it. There's some other things that need to be done there too.
Well, does that mean if you ever put a pool in there, within the next 3 or 4 years, you gotta tear all this work up, right?
No matter what, you're gonna tear everything up if you put a brand new.
I know, so it's
So,
just,
That was, what year was that put there?
I mean, there's parts of it you could still use.
It was in the 80s that was
82 you
put there.
told me.
Huh?
Yeah, in the 80s.
I told you 82? It was somewhere around there because we used that, like I told you.
never let the people decide on it when it gets there.
Use the land as a collateral
Right,
to get a
Dave?
grant. Part of it was a
Let the
grant.
people decide on it.
Feel expense, grant and volunteers is what happened. Okay, next one.
We
Everybody agree on
gotta
the
wait for
one?
Mike to vote for us.
Oh, he's not here, is he? He left us.
Moving right along.
Take a 5-minute recess? No, okay, moving right along.
Really, at 9:20?
Article 10, see if the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $35,000, support the Northwest Library. Recommended by the Finance Committee, 5-0.
All in favor?
Oh, you guys didn't vote on
You
the pool yet,
already
the
voted
finance?
on that.
Oh, finance did, we've been,
Alright,
Right, library.
yeah,
Pool maintenance.
let's just finish pool first.
yeah,
What?
All
Or
those in
selectmen for-
favor?
We did vote, we voted, oh, we didn't vote.
I'm in favor too.
3-0. Vote 3-0.
I am,
It'd be foolish for me to sit here and vote on the finance committee against it. Okay, the library. There was the original request, as we all know, was $32,000. And there have been some comments that were made by a number of people that if they only wanted 32,000, then why would you give them the 35?
Because they then requested 35.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did. They sent us a letter requesting 35,000.
After the finance committee had voted for the 35, because there was one member of the committee that sits over
Yes,
there.
there
That increased it by $3,000.
5,000.
No,
No, it was 32.
it was 32. When June came here, she requested 32. Okay,
Yeah, I'm getting tired.
you going to sleep? All right, what's your feeling about this?
I think that you should fund the library.
At 32 or 35?
35.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Uh-oh, that's worse.
I get chastised, but, okay.
That's good.
What, did I get chastised?
Please stop.
All right,
We're over.
see if the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $71,000 for licensed ambulance service, emergency services and support. And
311.
what? It is 111. I'm sorry, 311. Oh. Any comments?
Wasn't this 30,000 2 years ago and 50,000 last year?
No.
It
That was-
wasn't even
that was-
50,000.
That was 56 last year.
Yeah. I mean, I'm using round numbers, but
Yeah.
Would you, 30,000, when did you say, 2
2
years?
years ago, 29,000.
Wasn't that low, was it? Was it that low?
I know last year was
Yes, it
56.
Oh,
Yes,
when
it
they
was.
used all the money out of those other accounts that they had?
I guess they say they bled their capital
Well,
reserve.
they probably did. Remember those sheets that you had and when we went to
They
Greenville
want
and all
us
that?
Replace it.
All right. Over here, the reason this doesn't say Sauhegan Valley naturally is in case that, God forbid, anything would ever happen to them, then we would be sort of bound to just, if we put the name in there, we would,
Yeah,
we would be
because now it's-
contracted to them. This way here, you can go and make further arrangements with other people, if you ever had to get to that point. I hope that that doesn't happen, but, and one of the reasons that it changed this year more than anything else was basically because of the figures that they were using. They were using the old census figures, or they said they were, from, what, 10 years ago, and they did not. This is the first year they used the 2010 figures, basically, which is 5,069 people, is that what it was? Something like that. The population of North had, what the figure they used? You remember, David, $13, $14 a person?
I
Huh?
don't recall.
I think so.
But I thought the gist of the increase was not only based on the population, but this year they went to increase it to develop a capital reserve account. And it was last year that it was to bring on that full-time person during the day.
Plus, don't they have to, they're gonna need another ambulance pretty soon too, right? Yeah. So anyway, what's your feelings, gentlemen?
I'm ballpoint ambulatory
I'm
service.
in favor.
Alright, so the select board votes 3-0 to put the article in and recommend it, right?
Yep.
Alright, next one, Article 12. Oh boy,
It's not a money article.
no, it isn't, so, you favor it or no? Oh, it's submitted by
It's a
petition
petition.
anyway.
Article, you don't have to.
We don't have to, but we could if we wanted to,
Good.
but I don't think we're not gonna tip our hand. No, anyway, all right, submitted by petition, I guess that's just to see if it's a popular move or not, but anyway. 13, see if the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $6,300 for the purpose of funding the following regional health services, and they're listed here. As you can see, these figures are the same ones that we used last year, and there's a reason for that, right? There's no additions or anything else. One of the reasons is that the individual is gonna get the figures for the selectmen, or for Marie, I should say, never got the figures, so the only thing we had to go on were last year's figures. So, if there's any comments, questions, or about that? Anybody? Or any changes? Anything you like last year we put in St. Vincent de Paul? That was the first time that had ever happened, I guess. But,
Nope, I'm in favor of this one too.
Monadnock Family Services is $175. You're both familiar with Monadnock Family Services and the work they do, right?
Yep.
Okay. And home health care, the Red Cross, naturally, we're all familiar.
Meals on Wheels.
Huh?
Meals on Wheels is kind of.
Yeah, but you never got any of those reports, right?
What are you talking
The
about?
ones that they send.
I got them all.
You got them all? Oh, I thought she had them.
I gave them to her, well, she took them,
Oh.
yes. They all came to my office.
Well, the reason I asked that was,
Yes,
we
I
used,
have nothing
we
now.
used to have some sort of a chart to figure out how many people, for example, were on Meals on Wheels
Yeah.
or things like that, so you could gauge it. What'd you ask?
No, I just wanted to tell Marie that on the St. Vincent de Paul,
Yes,
the DE, the D is small. It's not a
the
capital
D is small.
Yeah.
D is the capital P?
Yep.
Space, any?
DE with a capital P, yeah.
So space,
Yeah.
DE space?
All right, are we in favor of that?
Yes, I am.
Anything else, you want to increase, change?
No.
You, Ben?
Happy with it.
Oh, sweet, so, I guess we can
3-0.
recommend that one? 3-0?
You want a recommendation for finance on that?
Well, did they, no,
They
that's
didn't
right,
get
they
a
never
chance.
did do one. They didn't have it.
Do you wanna vote on that? Ron?
You can.
I'm good with it.
We're all in favor of it. Okay, this speak for the committee.
They didn't recommend any changes?
I'm up for that.
Okay, it's 4-0, Finance Committee. All right, the next one is just, doesn't really pertain to money, it's just to change the way it's done. This wording has to be changed somewhat anyway, right, or wrong?
Well, the wording has been, there was a suggestion to change the wording, and you all have copies of the suggested change.
But,
That is very wordy, and it's really probably housekeeping. It should be done in the Green Center, not done in the warrant article. However, I sent all of these warrant articles to the DRA, and they didn't comment on it. I sent this upgrade, the new version, to the DRA, and they said it probably can't be allowed as a,
you mean this one here?
Yeah.
So,
as a,
but they didn't comment on the one that you've got spelled
No.
out here, right here.
It can't be allowed as what?
as a revolving fund.
Can you explain where these funds are coming from and where the
There's
funds are going?
donations.
Donations.
The Green Center gets
Cash?
Yep,
all different donations, and they're running it through the town account. And it's really, you know, we don't have a category yet for it, so we're gonna try to put it into a revolving fund using the category of recycling, because a revolving fund has only certain categories that you can use.
Yeah.
So I'm stretching the recycling because it is goods that are being resold.
but it's also not town money, it is money
Yes,
that the
then it
Green
needs
Center-
not be in the town.
Yeah, I don't know how that started, so.
It just sort of came in.
Well,
and-
apparently it's gonna be somewhat town money, cause the treasurer shall have the custody.
Well,
Well, the
the
treasurer has had custody of
Yeah,
it for the
treasurer
last
has
year.
Yeah, but, I don't know.
Wasn't there an issue with the auditors about that, or?
Right,
Yes.
because it's, like she said, she doesn't think it's town money, and the auditors are sort of saying, what is this, as well,
Almost needs to be created as a nonprofit.
someplace else, but it
Yeah,
is town.
it's on town property
It's
though,
on town property,
Right.
so.
so I'm having
Yeah, but
a,
how's baseball or anything like that that's a nonprofit work on town
that's,
property?
those are departments.
Right,
Or they,
They have their own, like,
Yeah.
what
They
do you
have,
call it, Cal Ripken is their own organization.
yeah,
The soccer is their own organization.
But they're on town
but
property.
they're just basically using a field
Yeah.
compared to having a building, there's a
But
good
the
difference.
town
Yeah,
doesn't
I
take
don't
in
know.
their money.
Yeah.
They handle their own.
And that's what I guess that's where I'm going with this. Is that's
They
what
do
I'm trying
handle
to
their own.
see how we need to separate it to make it legit with the auditors.
Right.
yeah, no, I understand what
Yeah.
we're trying to do here. I just know how the volunteers at the Green Center feel too, so.
And how do they feel?
Just that if that article has to go into the warrant, that two members of the
Should have.
volunteers
control,
should,
yeah.
should be
Well,
able
that
to.
should sort of
They
be,
don't feel like the selectmen should be able to make the final decision on the money.
which normally happens with a revolving fund is, it is recommended by someone, the selectmen
Yeah.
don't.
Right.
do
Usually
anything,
the,
but-
whoever's in charge of it,
Yes.
you know, the place, this is the money we're using for this.
Right.
And then the selectmen usually, okay, it's basically an okay, I mean,
It's just the way it's worded.
I
yeah.
know it.
Well,
I mean,
Well, I mean, if it can't be even a legal article, then it shouldn't even be on the warrant.
Right.
yeah, but they didn't say it wasn't a legal article
They
when you
said-
first wrote it, right?
Right. This time, she's just saying, I don't think this falls within the definition provided in RSA 149-M:4, and therefore, a revolving fund cannot be created.
So she says it's not recycling?
Right? Yeah. So perhaps we should just take it out.
Yeah,
take the article right out completely?
and then work on a way to,
Yeah, we're gonna wait
Yeah.
I should talk to the auditors tomorrow.
All right. I don't have a problem with taking it
I
out.
don't either.
If it's not legal, then there's no point in putting it in.
Well, I was
Anyway.
stretching it with the recycling.
Right? Well, I
Slightly.
think
Well,
so too.
it says,
It's still stuff that's recycled.
yeah, I
It's
mean,
recycled.
Close in, you can say close out.
Yes.
That's recycled.
Oh, just to be clear, who said it wasn't recycling?
That's
DRA or
changed
the auditor?
DRA.
yeah,
DRA?
DRA.
They're the boss. so
She didn't-
it
she
doesn't
didn't say
matter
it
what
wasn't
anybody here
recycling.
says, they're
Yeah.
the boss.
They are the boss, you're absolutely
Well,
right.
there are some definitions for recyclable materials, and part of it is included but not limited to. So I'm using the not limited to pretty strongly.
but, non-public
No, huh?
We are? We thought so.
I'm gonna make a motion after, so.
Nice effort, Kim.
I think it was a pretty good effort. I'm all for it.
As he told me.
No, well, I'm just, so we ready for Article 15?
Yep, Article 15.
Can I
Alright.
clarify whether or not Article 14 is,
So,
That's
Okay.
out, so Article 15 now becomes 14, right?
And henceforth.
Huh?
And henceforth.
yeah.
That's just for the cable access.
To create another
Revolving account.
revolving account, which again is legal, under cable, under the video.
Alright,
Can you explain what that is, that you're trying to do here?
Yes.
Sounds underhanded, but just.
Definitely look in the corners of the room, first of all, and you will see cameras. In the back room, we are setting up a video studio sort of thing, so that we can record the minutes of this meeting and other meetings to be shown on the television and on the internet. The equipment is paid for out of I have a special donation by Comcast. And there's often little things that need to be purchased for the videos, so we're considering putting together a revolving account and putting a little bit of that cable
Money.
franchise fee into the revolving account to run the video department, which it soon will be.
Well, where's your cable franchise fee, first of all, on revenue?
I was just wondering about that.
It's probably a fee, interest and fees,
Is it there?
I think it's there.
So then why is it not a budgeted item like everything else?
What do you,
Whatever it is you need to buy.
because no, there hasn't been any, really. We've had small items to purchase, like CD, DVD players, we bought a DVD player, we bought DVDs.
If I needed, say, some CDs, blank CDs, I'd tell Marie would order them, I don't know where to get the money from, it came from.
Yeah,
That town office budget line.
that covers everything.
Yeah,
You know that one?
bingo.
That one.
And it still has money left over at the end of the year.
How can this? It's not possible.
Okay. Betty,
I think it's worth reviewing the history of this. This goes back to Jim Coffey, who said that this Comcast franchise fee is a discriminatory tax.
Yes.
The tax is only levied on Comcast customers and then goes into general revenue.
Right.
And he wanted to abolish the franchise fee unless the money were used to benefit the Comcast customer. So,
Good point. That's very
so
true.
that's the origin of this idea of the revolving fund. The money would be used to, for the public station and broadcasting, and that would benefit people on Comcast who could watch the Selectmen.
But if you use that logic, the people that don't have students in the school are being, what was the word you just used?
penalized?
Discriminated against. Discriminated against.
Alright,
I agree, I agree, so I won't pay my property tax.
Okay. Just to make that franchise fee go.
well, but he never wrote an article or anything to do that, he could've, well, have done that, as far as Jim Coffey's philosophy. Okay, Ellen, what do you think?
Oh, I recommended it.
You reckon?
I feel that you need to upgrade equipment and stuff like that. I have no problem with having a
Well, you
small
recommended
revolving
it?
account. It says recommended by the selectmen, board of selectmen, so I wasn't the only one there that,
I guess
when
that's,
we said that, hey, let's do this.
You remember it?
I don't remember it, but
No, I don't think
opposed to
I
it.
think that might have been the one meeting he missed.
I missed a couple.
Okay, recommended by the selectmen, what, 3-0?
Sure.
Sounds good to me.
You usually average what, around between $6,000 and $8,000 a year for franchise fee?
about 14,000,
14.
14,
Is it up that high? I mean,
Yes.
It wasn't at one time.
Mhm.
We got that $15,000
That's right.
as a special award for some reason or other, but.
Next week, there should be big microphones here and the lights will be flashing. The
All right.
camera will point to you as you
They're trying to
speak.
drive us from not.
The next article is a petition article.
The next one's a petition article, but it does raise and appropriate $46,000, so the finance committee should make some sort of recommendation. Maybe they shouldn't, but maybe they should. Ali?
That's not a true figure there.
What?
It's gonna cost a lot more money to do that.
I don't think once they sell those rooftop units it would.
I don't think we're gonna sell new top units.
What are you gonna do with them? You're not gonna demolish them.
We're gonna put a couple over on building 3, that where they need over there.
Building 3,
You know,
all these years it's been there without,
But how much you think it's gonna cost? Building 2 is really the home of building 1 and building 3. You got
Okay,
two as well.
Ron,
water. Okay, excuse me, I'm sorry.
just,
Do tell
you're
me.
gonna carry on a conversation, do it this
No,
way.
we're talking about that article.
Both of you. I don't know I don't know who wrote this and so forth. I do know that it was submitted by petition with 30 signatures on it. Where the figure came from, I have no idea, and how they arrived on it. Would you know?
I don't know.
You signed it.
I did.
I'm not incriminating you for signing it. because
You can go,
I'm
if
just
you
saying-
wanna incriminate me, Mr. Lawrence, you go right ahead, and I will
No.
bait you till the cows come home, but this town has sunk enough money into that money pit. And if they can't realize
No,
that,
That isn't my question. My question is, how did the 46,000,
I
how was it
don't
arrived
know,
at?
I did not draft that petition.
Would you let Ron Stanley explain his reason for saying 46,000 is not enough now?
Well, I know what the reason is too, but I'll
Well,
let
let
him
him.
explain it.
Go ahead,
Okay,
you
no,
tell him.
Go ahead.
Well, you got the generator over there, you got the well, you got the fire alarms, and there was one other thing.
It's not the fire alarm, it is the telephone system, fire alarm.
The telephone system,
That
okay.
telephone system back feeds this building.
Well, how you gonna drink water over here, David?
Wait a minute, let me explain to you, Ron. I've read those remarks that have been made.
You know, all you guys wanna do is tear the building down,
Before we get too
No,
far.
What's another use for the building?
police department.
You can't, that doesn't meet code. We've had that
Can be
discussion.
code. It can.
All right, we're going into another issue
Yes,
now.
we have.
My only question was where the figure came from, and nobody seems to know, so we can go on to bigger and greater things.
Oh, no, we ought to either support or not support.
Yeah, no,
I
no, no,
understand that, but
Oh, okay.
that's one
No,
of the
but-
bigger or greater things.
Oh, okay, I thought you were moving on to the next article.
No, we might as well have a plan, I mean, the finance.
You know, I noticed one thing, they did
No,
make it
I
a
don't wanna vote on it.
non-lapse in
Petition article.
appropriation.
I don't wanna vote on it.
Well, that's a money article.
It's a petition article, I don't wanna vote on it.
All right. Betty,
I'll just make one statement. Before I tore the building down, I'd wanna make absolutely sure there's no alternative use.
That,
there may be, because I think.
I kept pestering Peter about turning it into a salt shed.
I understand that, that's an alternative use. I knew where you were going with that. We didn't sit here together for 3 years for nothing, did we? Anyway, okay. I understand that, and that probably would be an alternative use, but I don't
but
know.
that's not the,
If the people that
there's
did
a
this
petition, it's actually a petition article and,
that's it, to demolish. It doesn't say anything about alternative uses or anything
No.
else, but.
it's either tear it down or.
All right, this board wanna make a decision on it or not, or do you wanna vote on it? Make a
I'm not in
recommendation.
favor.
What?
I'm not in favor of this article.
You're not in favor of this article? Are you?
No,
Okay, so the vote's unanimous, 3-0.
Can you amend
Zero
it
to
to a
three.
zero figure?
You can at the
At the deliberative,
Oh,
I,
okay.
we cannot hear.
That
We
probably will
can't,
be
we can't
done.
change it, no.
No, not here, no.
It's always been my premise that you can't change petition articles anyway, but other people don't agree, so.
Well, it's been done before.
If a petition, I know it's been done, but it shouldn't have been, as far as I'm concerned. I'm saying that the way I was taught, if I was taught, was that the old town lawyers that we used to have, used to say.
That was back in the 40s.
Charlie Lincoln, remember Charlie Lincoln?
No.
First lawyer I ever knew, one of his first statements, and that always stuck with me, you can't change petition articles. If that was the case, then it has to be done by a petitioner. But that's Charlie Lincoln.
Graham's brother.
Big
Yeah.
old-
17.
yeah,
big
because
old-
last year's article on the building wasn't a petition article.
No, it wasn't. You're right.
Yeah,
Well, you could have changed the wording on it, and they did change the figure.
yeah, you can change the figure, but
there are people that believe you can change petition articles in any
Oh,
way,
wow.
shape, or form.
I guess we might as well research that before we go down to the deliberative session.
Yeah. Well, I've seen it done before.
But I mean,
Anyway.
if it's done but it's not legal, then,
We have
No,
to
you-
do that's the DRA.
yeah,
No, you can change, amend a petition article.
okay.
In fact, the court case that gave rise to that 2C, that was a petitioned article that got changed to 2C.
Yeah, it was. Is it right though, if you petition something for some reason or other, and you get 25 or 30 signatures, why should somebody else come along and all of a sudden be able to change it? You had a reason for submitting that petition, no doubt about it.
Yeah, but they have more than 50% of the voters at the deliberative session.
No. You gotta, well, that law should change someday
But
anyway, so you have to
that's
get more
why it
votes.
gets changed though.
It won't. All right, Article 17,
16 now.
it is 16.
17.
I'm sorry.
On the sheet.
I gotcha.
And this is to see if town vote to raise appropriate the sum of $25,000 for the purpose of repaving the parking lot at the fire station. Comments? Anybody?
Who came up with that figure?
Must have been a fire chief, I guess. Where he got it, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how much it costs to pave, so I'm not. I mean, we have warrant articles that we're spending $250,000 on to pave a section of road. I mean, what's that in comparison to the size of the parking lot?
Well, one of the going rates, the last I knew, was $81 a ton for in place, so I don't know how many tons they're figuring on. But anyway. David Leitch probably knows. He's in the business. How much is it a ton right now, do you know, in place?
Place, 77.
70 something? Well,
32, 75.
they're all pretty much the same, no matter whether it's Brock's or who it is, right? All right, any comments? Mr. Conlon, Mr. Fargo? Finance committee in favor of that one?
I'd have to abstain, I have no clue what the condition of that parking lot is in.
I'm in favor of it. I know the condition, it's very poor, but I don't know if they can do a good job with that. I will have to go by
Well,
what
they
they
should
did.
have been done
Is it
since,
rebuilding it, or are they band-aiding it, you know, I have no,
I would guess it's never been done since 1972.
Well, it'd be interesting to know where David got that figure from.
Well, we can find that out, I suppose, but still. Do we want to put this article in the warrant? Yes?
Yes.
You don't want to recommend it?
No, I mean.
I'm in favor of it.
Yeah, I am too.
All right. Selectmen recommend it 3-0. Is that what we're gonna say?
Well, if you're the third,
If I what?
if you're the third,
I guess I am, all right.
we'll get to the fun ones.
You probably should think about paving the parking lot out here, but that's another issue. Finance committee, you didn't want to vote on it? Okay.
I'm in favor. What the heck?
I'm in favor of it. We have, so,
3-1
3 to.
or 0. You wanted to abstain,
I'm
so
abstaining.
yep.
He's abstaining.
You're abstaining? Okay,
I don't blame you.
all right. Jean's in favor, Ron's in
Yeah.
favor. You haven't got a quorum. Well, I guess I don't, I'll count myself. All right, so it's finance committee, 3-0, right?
Right.
Okay.
If someone was sitting there.
No, this one's a controversial one, right here. Article 17,
We lost some of the audience.
all right. If town vote to raise and appropriate $200,000 to purchase that land and building that.
Land and or building in land.
And or building and land, I know why you wrote it that way. For the
Where'd you
future-
come up with the figure?
Based on the price of one piece of property, but there's other pieces of property in town that it's, you know. there's- I mean, basically, you have an article that says that we're gonna tear down building 2. So,
You have a
you
petition
have to ask,
article.
what?
You have a petition article.
Yeah, I know, but so here's an article, voters say we don't wanna spend $200,000 on, we need direction from the voters somehow, though, what are we gonna do
You
next?
familiar with that, Bill?
Right now, you got the cart in front of the horse.
exactly, what went into developing this warrant article?
thinking of the future need of the police department.
Okay, how much land does the town currently own?
Hundreds.
Okay,
Why would you be looking to buy more land?
I didn't have enough guidance that I probably needed to go to do this.
Well-
But no one, what I'm saying, I have people saying, you need to do this, you need to do that. Well, here's a question, should the town, and people, besides the people in this room, who don't always come to this room, have opinions, and if they want, you want their opinion too, right?
I want everyone's opinion, and you know what I really want? The board to analyze what they're going to do. Not when was this discussed? Not once was this ever mentioned during the FAC.
No,
Okay, so apparently not much thought's gone into this.
no, there's been
That's
not
my
a
point.
lot of conversation has gone into it. I've thought about this a lot.
Really?
Yeah, the town-
Enough that when I ask you the question of how much land does the town own, and you tell me I don't really know.
No, I really don't, at least I'm honest about it.
I'm not questioning you.
No, but what I'm saying, you only learn by what you do. And this is the opinion I have, that there's a lot of people who don't come to these meetings, who don't even watch them on TV, and they hear about, in the newspaper, this about the police department, that about the police department. Well, here's a question for you, would you like to do this?
Okay. The second half of the question says, land and building.
Land
Is
or
it
land
or
or
building?
building?
I said the second half of the question.
Okay,
Is there something specific you're looking at?
there's been a couple pieces.
Okay.
The building that the police department's currently housed in.
Yeah.
There's a piece of property for sale up the road.
Okay. Mike, I've mentioned this to you before, and I'm gonna say it again, because I just wanna make sure you understand. By New Hampshire state law, when you have a building that houses police, fire, and emergency management, or any combination thereof, it has to meet certain construction standards. That's a requirement.
Can you bring those in, because
I
then,
have offered to give that to you, and I will send it to you.
okay, I will give you my email.
Those are there, okay? And I would just like to make sure that the board looks at that before they make a commitment on something, because we don't wanna buy something.
No, and obviously you're not going blind into something, you're just saying, do you want to do something?
All right, let me ask you this then, you didn't put any specific place?
No,
in there?
because I didn't think that you should have a specific place.
But you got your figure for the former Weed Dreams, right?
No, that's more than what that place is.
Well, they're selling for $189?
Yeah. That's more than what that
All
place
right,
is.
so you put another 11 in there just to make it an even 200,000.
And how much would it cost to renovate that, if you could, to renovate that building to a police department?
How much does it cost to renovate building too?
We haven't done anything to find out really yet.
Well, say you spent 150 grand down there, if you bought Weed Dreams, let's say you needed another 150 grand.
Yeah.
What do you do with, now you're gonna let
What
that
I'm
building
saying,
sit
you're
there
not
empty
only
and let
talking
it get
Weed
full
Dreams
of
though.
mold?
That was one building we had gone into.
Yes, I understand.
I mean, the thing is, okay, well, we'll keep renting.
I think,
Okay.
Has gone into these buildings? Or
Into that,
have you all
I only
gone
went into one building. And basically to look at the building and just get an idea of what you would look into with the chief of police to see what he'd want for a building. How he would look at the footprint.
I think the thought process that you have in the next article is more in line with where the board should be guiding the town, in that you bring in someone, let them assess what your options are, come up with a plan, present that to the townspeople.
And that's why there was 2 articles there.
but you have no idea it's gonna cost $100,000.
All right,
You guys just came up with a figure, $100,000.
Well, when you have to have a warrant article in time for the warrant,
I like to see these two article
Maybe it
tables.
should be discussed before you decide to put a warrant article in. I mean, maybe you should
with
have.
who when you have no meetings?
Well, you could have a public meeting
Okay.
to discuss it.
I like to see
I
these,
mean,
This is just like coming
okay,
up out of the
people
blue.
say you do nothing and then you try to do something, it's a tough course to ride.
Mr. Chairman,
Do-
Yes, Mr. Stanley?
I like to see these two article tables.
See the 2 articles, all right, we're only talking about Article
Yeah, but
17.
we-
Why, are you afraid someone's gonna vote on them?
No, I'm not. I think you got the cart in front of the horse.
And I think in the meantime, my recommendation would be to leave Article 19, and between now and the deliberative session, let's do some homework on what it would cost to have somebody do this, and then amend the article at the deliberative
I would
session.
have no problem with that.
You wanna comment? You got any comments?
Yeah,
What?
I'm not in favor of 18 myself, but I'm in favor of putting something together to figure out where we need to go with the police department now that we have a new chief, and move forward. What's our long-term plan? Am I in favor for 100,000? No. Am I in favor for a plan structure? By all means. It's just a matter of figuring out where we can go with it.
Okay, but, getting back to this one, it's $200,000. Of course, if you bought most any building, no matter where it is anyway, don't even have to be redreamed, you're gonna have to do a fit up, a renovation and so forth.
No.
Is the money included in that figure, no?
No, it's just to purchase land. I mean, if, and again, maybe,
Well, no.
I know, obviously, I didn't do my due diligence of knowing what proper piece of land was in the right place for a police department that the town owns.
Well,
I have.
We got a lot of land right out here. You gonna tear down building too, why can't you put it right there?
I'm not,
I don't wanna be facetious, but what prompted you to go to Weed Dream?
it's for sale. It's a building that's for sale, that's on Route 124, which seems like would be a good place for the police department to come out on Route 124 and do their job.
Police department,
Central
emergency
school.
management, and
Yeah.
fire department?
That's another one. Again, like I said, that's the only that's why it doesn't say a particular building.
What's the other one you just said?
The
He
building
said
that the
Central.
police department are in right now is for
That's-
sale.
That's really nice.
Central School.
I was being facetious.
I know you were.
I think we could, I think somebody should get this together the
Okay.
right way, and we can revisit this next year.
I don't wanna sound
No,
harsh or anything, but I think that.
No one else is doing anything, so someone has to do something to get the discussion at least.
Well, we got to the discussion now, we didn't have a discussion before, no, because we haven't
But
had
no one,
we haven't had many meetings together, but, so, Article,
You can have public hearings, that's,
you can, there's no doubt about that, and you don't need an article for those,
no.
but you do to raise money. So you don't feel that this article here covers what you wanna see, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, at this point, I'm not in favor at all for what used to be Article 18, now 17.
How come you didn't include fire in that, by the way?
Because we just moved all the modulars to the fire department and you spent $10,000-15,000 upgrading down there.
I thought you were talking about a public safety building, that's all, but anyway. All right, so the finance committee doesn't want any part of this, am I hearing that anyway?
We're hearing that.
Okay. The selectman, Mr. Cargill says no. I guess that, I understand why you did what you did and so forth, and try to get things moving, and I'm not gonna be, but I don't particularly favor it either. I'm not particularly sure I'd favor Weed Dreams even if we did have a plan in that regard, because of where it is and how you get up to it. Do we have Gene,
Yeah,
when you worked up there, were there problems getting up there in the winter time?
oh, yeah.
Of course, just look at it, it's like that.
We had the town office there in the bottom.
But like I said, of course, that's not the only property.
No,
It's
no,
just,
no.
you could use that as a basis because of the price range.
I'm not chastising you.
No, I don't, you can, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. And I have a big one.
You know, if we're gonna spend $200,000 for a new police station, we're gonna sell the units on top of the building.
Yeah.
I'd rather spend a little bit more money, have a brand new efficient police station.
One of the
And
things,
that's fine.
what are you talking about, that down there, get rid of that? If you demolish that building, then put another building.
Put it right there,
Yeah.
right
Well,
there.
that would be the,
That's what, I would vote for something like that, but not for another,
what do I know? It's
House.
the same pad, right? You're gonna take your rooftop units out of there, take your radios out of it, take your water out of there, and reroute your electrical and all that stuff.
Alright, well,
The generator.
we can
Anyway.
vote, so you can make a decision on Article 17.
Okay, well, that's just, Article 17, as far as I'm concerned, we won't put it in there, but,
No problem.
It's out.
okay? Don't get mad.
I'm not. Yeah, I still have one more year.
I would if I was you. Okay, Article 18. All right, this is a loss of a different color. And What'd you say?
19.
Well, yeah. but-
No, actually, now it-
Now I think
Now it's down to
it's number 16 or 17,
We
yeah.
got rid of one of those articles.
Oh, that's right, it is down to 17.
That's
I'm
all right.
sorry. That's my fault.
The minutes are showing 19.
How much?
It's still showing 19,
Why?
because that's really what it is at this point. I haven't showed something to all the articles. So-
All right, anyway, see if town vote to raise and appropriate $100,000 for the professional engineering feasibility study in regard to housing and space requirements of the police department, emergency management department, and the fire department. And then the study shall include location and draft and design. Now you need to break those apart there, right? You put a period after fire department and then put the, or whatever, the study shall include location and draft and design, just a change of words. Am I right?
I'm sorry, you wanna say that again, George?
Yeah, put a period after, I think it's put a period after fire department and then say, the study shall include location and draft and design.
But where did the $100,000 come from? Out of the sky?
Yeah,
I did it?
yeah.
Yeah. That's ridiculous, to present a petition, an article to the people of $100,000 that fell out of the sky, that's ridiculous.
That's why we're discussing them now.
Okay, that's good.
All right.
Ron and I'll do it for 50 grand.
Let's get some licensed professionals.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna spend any money, it's gonna be through someone.
Okay, let's, are we in agreement that this would be a practical thing to do as far as to have a?
Yeah, we'll just have to get
Yes.
the dollar figure.
Well,
Yes, I
You're
am
probably
in favor of the article.
is it far off on the money? He is? How far off is it?
My best guess,
Yeah,
75,000.
it's
You
75.
think it'll cost 25? Cause the original,
This is just a
Yeah.
preliminary study, come
My-
down, look at it, hey, this is what we could do. I'll share with you now. Back when I was on the board, we had Bruce Hamilton come down along when we were developing the building committee and looking at building 2 and whatnot, and he has good vision, he came down and he had other recommendations, which was a new facility and whatnot. There was no cost for that, okay? But when you're looking and you're asking somebody then to put time into, hey, give us a design
yeah, that's
also,
what I'm saying.
it's gonna be short dollars, short.
Okay.
This figure should be changed right now tonight,
I would,
otherwise somebody
No,
will change
no.
it at the.
our board can
deliberative
change it at the deliberative
Yeah.
session.
We can change it tonight if we want.
Who would you recommend, I mean, what company out there to call?
Bruce is right up the street,
Yeah,
I
Bruce
mean,
Hamilton.
Hamilton,
I know, but you have some people who, you know, you use one person, they say, oh, you got that person for this reason.
You're right.
Can you
there are,
call
Absolutely.
I can give you
Kristen
references for other people if you like, but
I'll tell you that about.
You know what,
Same
how about,
thing.
how about if I leave it up to you to find the company, so they
Bruce.
won't say that I,
Leave it up to who?
Bruce Hamilton would be the fairest for the town, I would think,
Bruce Hamilton?
right now.
But it's feasibility
Okay,
study used. for
But
the
he
police
needs,
Okay.
guidance as to where he's gonna go.
I
as
know
far
the
as
contractors,
housing
but I don't know who did
Yeah,
it.
no, I'll bring
I
up,
remember
I guess
meeting with
not.
them.
I'll bring up the
I
Howard
just can't
petition
remember.
article.
He's done a lot of studies for the town in the past, so
And he's local.
Yeah,
he's
Should use
local,
local.
right,
oh, you always try.
so.
I would move to cut this in half to 50, and then we could adjust it at the deliberative session,
All right.
depending what comes back.
Let's do that.
Just so it's not
Yeah,
such
that
a
sounds
mind-blowing
better.
number right off the bat, Mike, that's all. Being published.
if you're gonna reduce it, I'd go to the 25.
Then you can raise it at the
Yeah.
Yeah,
session.
whichever, that's fine.
Is that what you're saying, David?
I can say the word, Joe.
I heard you, I've seen you before, in action.
Second,
I'll second. Oh, you already
That
did.
first.
You made the motion, David. Are you gonna second your own motion?
Of course.
All right, all in favor?
I,
Okay. All right, that's the end of those, right? Any other articles anybody has that should be written?
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to see in
I think
articles?
it's Miller time.
Hey, Benji.
Huh?
Meeting
No,
over, or is there
Nobody
still?
has any?
Actually, we still have to go to non-public,
Really?
but, yeah,
Okay.
but,
Can I ask an informative question?
What's that?
Our esteemed town administrator is gonna be leaving us soon,
Yeah.
and I'm concerned with, where are we with
We're
replacement
gonna be
administrator?
discussing that too, I thought we were gonna discuss it tonight,
I thought you said next week.
but, well, every
Is the
week.
intent of the board to do
This is next
interviews and have somebody on board
I thought you said
prior?
2 weeks due to the budget.
That's what the hope. I know.
You guys are running out of time.
What's that? For what, town administrator?
I'm hoping that this board is gonna set up
Well,
interviews.
she's gonna stay for 6 more months.
Oh, perfect, good job, guys.
All
3,
winter.
6 months, come on, that gets you into next
I bet you.
fall.
many resumes have you received?
What is it?
About 25,
Oh,
little
wow.
25.
there's no shortage of resumes.
No, they came in pretty fast and furious at the
You
end.
have
It's
25?
a hot job.
How many more days are left for resumes?
Just stay, Marie,
Yeah.
just stay.
Just,
Right.
thank you, Dave.
How many days were left for resume? What'd you put the final date with?
Friday.
Today, right?
Friday,
Yeah.
last Friday.
Yeah.
Did you turn ours in, Ron?
Huh? Yes, I did.
All right. You wanna go on executive session?
I'll make a
Dave,
motion
you and I
that we
will
go
never
along
agree on
with
this too, no matter
the
what.
RSA 91,
But I read
A,
the half.
capital A, semicolon 3, that be Roman numeral 2, E, litigation.
lost more hats.
Litigation?
Yep.
I'll second that.
All, Mr. Conlon? Aye, right? Mr. Conlon?
Aye.
It's a roll call vote. Aye. Mr. Morris, aye. Mr. Cargill?
Aye.
All right. All right, we'll wait until next week as far as those applications are concerned.
Well, we can make a meeting, I don't mind making a night this week to meet, if Mike's got time.
I don't know.
I know he had a lot of meetings this week, he said.
I don't want to see anybody, but if they tear it down, they should.
All right,
Hey, guys, we need the room.
Yeah, yeah.
it's getting late.
Oh, come on.
We're in non-public.
Are
What do
you
you think, we're gonna